Objective when it comes to Donald Trump.
I would just say, I mean, this feels like it has a real chilling effect. Like, I mean, shout out to the standards department. Okay, standards is always making sure that we are keeping the bar high and substantive and accurate. But what George Stephanopoulos said in that interview, I mean, it seems to hold up with what the judge said after the fact. And now his news organization and himself, George Stephanopoulos himself, is paying $1 million of his own money to the lawyers, and ABC $15 million. It's insane.
Oh my God! Go on, Simone Sanders. Thank you. So many wieners this morning. So many cowardly wieners. We're just going to warn you. We hate everyone this morning. Yeah, we're talking to you, ABC. We're talking to you, Lindy Lee.
Oh boy.
She said it out loud.
Now it's personal.
Okay, now it's out in the open.
Said it out loud.
Oh, and apparently we hate me because I fell for
Yes.
platforming Lindy Lee, who is now a turncoat Fox News Democrat basher. Okay, Kimberly Johnson apparently never trusted her, so she's going to be screening my dating life from now on. Kimberly Johnson will join us in hour 3.
Wasn't there another former Democrat that you used to work with that goes on Fox News a lot now? Who was that? The lesbian lady that you worked with at KFI?
Oh, I was never friends with Tammy Bruce. I know I'm not taking the blame for that. I'm taking the blame for that Disney's broke because of my late night show in 1995, and that's why they paid out Trump, even though they didn't have to. ABC. So I'm going to take blame for that. And I didn't go falconing with Bobby Kennedy, so that's my fault.
And you voted for Reagan.
And okay, I was only 3.
You campaigned for Goldwater?
Yes, you did.
I was 3.
You did campaign.
I was 3.
You appeared at the Republican National Convention.
You were there.
Yes.
No, I was not. I was too ugly. They left me at home.
I thought your dad held you up like Mufasa.
God, no. Oh, no.
No?
Oh, God, no. I was too ugly. They left me home. Me and my brother were home. Yeah,
okay.
just my hot sisters.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
They told your sisters to wear something tight.
I was Cinderella. Just you stay there, Armenian wolf child. Wow. Okay, listen. We have taken some body blows this weekend in the resistance, but you know what? Everybody, because there are a lot of great warriors in this fight with us.
That's right.
And we're gonna, you know what? This is what we say every day, right? Cowardice is contagious, and so is courage. Yep. And I'm sorry, as you just said before the show, when Joyce Vance was saying, they would have won this lawsuit.
They would have.
This is a more obeying in advance and kissing the ring. And we were saying it's designed to scare the rest of us to go, oh, we don't have ABC's deep pockets.
Right.
So, because if they're going to pay it off, just to avoid a costly lawsuit. And by the way, Trump on cue is already threatening to sue other outlets that give him bad coverage.
That's what he does.
Quote unquote.
That's what he does.
Yep.
Right. But this is what happens in the face of cowardice. Like we were saying, George Stephanopoulos did not do anything wrong. He was quoting the judge in the case.
Exactly.
I mean, the fact that we're splitting hairs about someone about to get the nuclear codes, the fact that he was found guilty of sexual assault, not technically rape, but what everybody refers to, why he is an adjudicated rapist, is because the judge
said it
in the sentencing said it amounts to rape.
Exactly.
You and I said that in the beginning, Jody. How getting penetrated against your will with anything is not rape?
It's rape.
Anyway, which is what the judge said, which is what George Stephanopoulos
He was just quoted the judge.
But so, yeah, they, again, to avoid a costly lawsuit, they bent the knee. And, it just, God, I don't even know. I'm sorry. I did have you print the entire
The Blue Sky,
Internet.
Threads,
This is
Twitter.
that's kind of why I have you say allegedly quite a bit.
Allegedly.
So that we don't have to pay out.
Everybody says adjudicated rapist because it means the judge said it.
You got to say it every time.
Whatever.
Just trying to shield you from a $15 million payout.
All right, fine. Oh, yeah, because I got that. Clearly, this wire doesn't work. That thing doesn't work. These
That's
don't
broken.
work. That's broken. Oh, sure. I got that in spare change here. Anyway, but yeah, we will talk to Max Burns, Democratic strategist, wrote that great piece about
right.
media infrastructure, Rude Pundit, and Kimberly Johnson.
Yeah.
But as I was saying to you guys before the show, you know what? I will not apologize for platforming strong progressive voices, which I've been doing for 20 years. And as you said, Chris, we have like a 99.9% success rate. Almost everyone in the progressive overall right now came from this show.
Right.
From, as Bob Seska calls us, the mothership.
Yes.
And I couldn't be prouder and happier about that. And we have so many strong, amazing progressive voices. You know, we were saying, I get it, people are like, oh, don't fall for people just because they're saying what you want to hear. Well, a lot of people fell for Lindy Lee because, you know, she's young, she's Asian, she's
Smart.
her tweets were, you know, obviously she had a huge social media following.
She
people
raised a lot of money for the Democrats.
Right.
You
And
know.
so, you know, obviously we invited her to the table like a lot of people
Yeah.
did. And I have to say, John Fugelsang wrote me and said he had her on a couple weeks ago. And he said she seemed nervous and not herself. And, you know, but he didn't see this coming. I mean, a lot of people didn't see this coming because it's really a 180. I mean, she literally now is, I guess, the Fox News official Democrat basher,
Yeah.
you know, bashing Biden, bashing Harris. But, you know, she just threw Kamala under the bus. She's like, she ruined it for women. I'm like, what? Oh, my God.
She's saying what Fox News wants to hear.
Yeah, what Fox News wants
Exactly.
a Democrat to say. So
Right.
they can say here, you know.
Yep.
And by the way, she's not a Democratic official or
No.
in the
I know, they
DNC.
keep calling her that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
She's a
She was
fundraiser.
not, she didn't run anybody's
No.
campaign.
Nope.
So it's a lot of the stuff she's talking about. She doesn't know.
She wasn't a campaign insider.
No.
You know, she was at a lot of the parties and stuff like
Right.
that. And, you know, so she heard
Right.
some things maybe at cocktail parties, but she wasn't an insider by any stretch.
Anyway, yeah, but yeah, that was like, and I was saying, I was a little like, a lot of the tweets were like, look at me, look at my, you know, appearances on Fox News, or look how much money I've, it was very money centered, you know, but you think, oh, well, you know, listen, we have former Republicans who we don't agree on anything that would join us in this fight, you know, because I still believe we're in this existential battle of our lives in this country. And I'm like, you know what? Welcome, Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, no, I did not see this, but I'm not going to apologize.
No.
You guys know I've made way worse mistakes in my personal
well,
life.
goodness
I
gracious,
mean, my
yes.
judgment, pristine. Okay. Those of you that have never been in anybody, get on your high horse and stay there. That's fine. Okay. You know who's still in this fight with us? Hold, please. Yeah, all right. Hang on a second. Yeah, all right.
Oh, rutabaga.
Oh, our beloved JoJo from Jers. Trust me, we had some texts this weekend
Oh, I bet.
about some stuff. She said, as she does, she's a little potty mouth minx, as you
Yes.
know. She
I
said,
know.
You know,
ABC
especially-
News, Legacy Media, they can capitulate to that sucker all they want.
Oh, gosh.
It's well past time for something new. There's a hell of a lot of warriors out here fighting the good fight for what is right, and we don't apologize to adjudicated rapists. Thank you, JoJo from Jers. T-Pain, our friend, said the first media outlet that fearlessly stands up to Trump will garner a massive audience and make a tidy profit as well. Well, I gotta say, if early evidence, all the Morning Joe viewers are here, so you know what? And we're not calculating like that. We've always been, you know, we've been fervently Trump, haven't we, from the get? So you know what? It's just, I think people really are looking to people with platforms. This is why Mark Elias, I think, is such a hero
Because we live in the United States.
He's modeling courage, and he's saying,
Yep.
"Do you know?" Say it again.
We live in the United States of Mark Elias.
Yes,
We
we
do.
do. Yes,
We
we do. Yes, we do. Don't we know someone that knows him that can tell him how much I adore him? Just to the not to the degree that it freaks him out.
Don't climb onto him like a koala. You'll
will, you know.
scare him.
You know she will.
I know.
I am not going to leave his head for 4 years. I I'm just saying, people need leadership more than ever now. They don't want sand, Chris. We need serious people. These are serious times. We need
People want leadership, Mr.
Not
President.
sand.
In the absence of genuine leadership, they'll listen to anyone who steps up to the microphone. They want leadership. They're so thirsty for it, they'll crawl through the desert toward a mirage, and when they discover there's no water, they'll drink the sand.
People don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference.
Darn it.
Thank you. Yes. Deacon Blues posts, make it make sense. Number 1, seniors voted to cut Social Security. 2, men voted against women they say they love. 3, immigrants voted to be deported. 4, the poor voted for tax cuts for the rich. 5, the police voted for a felon.
All of the above.
I know this happens to some degree all the time, people voting against their self-interest, but man, not to this degree, I don't think. I mean, someone was posting about the, where is it? This is the problem with printing the entire internet.
Yeah,
It's difficult, isn't it? It gets confusing, doesn't it?
It certainly does, Jody. Thank God there's not somebody that has to print all this. Oh, sorry. No, just about the Gaza issue. It's just, you know, and sometimes I'm too heartbroken to, I told you so, you know, but it's just talking about like the latest, whoever, Mike Huckabee saying, you know, there's no such thing as a Palestinian, and Pete, I kill all the Muslims, Hegseth. It's just, man, as we keep saying, it is the fastest, you know, find out in the around paradigm I've ever seen. How about this? 2 months ago, he said he didn't know what Project 2025 was. Donald Trump changed his tune on Project 2025. It's very conservative and very good. The thing that he knew nothing about and wanted nothing to do with. You remember a month ago? And you believe that, remember? You believe that? Oh, how about this? Hey, egg price people! Talking to you. ACS tweets, Trump wants to give the 5 largest grocery companies in America $1.7 billion by lowering the corporate tax rate to 1.5%. This coming after they made a record $29 billion in profits while millions suffered the high prices. You morons were played again. As a moron that just got played by Lindy Lee, let me just say I have sympathy for you. But, oh my God, it's not going to trickle down. They're not going to pass the savings on to you. They're going to be greedy corporate price gouging. Like, who was it? Let me think. Who talked about that? Who was it? Oh, I know. It was Kamala Harris. Talked about a plan to... Not thank you for price gouging. Here's some more money for you. Okay, I feel like you guys are looking at me in some level of alarm or...
Yes, always.
Thank you, Mehdi Hassan. He said, this is why the entire narrative about Dems losing touch with the working class, while Trump apparently showed that he cares for them, is so infuriating. Biden tried to give extra pay to 4 million workers. A Trump-appointed conservative judge just blocked him with no blowback from Trump. And, of course, the media, too scared, cowed into submission to, you know, to talk about it, which is how we got here in the first place. It's just such a vicious circle as to how we got here. How do you think... I'm telling you, in the history of this time is written, and more people, even conservative writers, are saying it, is Biden has the best record in history, practically. Yes. All of our enemies are weakened, foreign policy, domestically, economically, and that was really the key, is that his approval rating, you know, somebody was talking over the weekend about the internals, especially after the debate, that he was going to get killed in a landslide, you know, and so that's why a lot of what happened, you know, but you're like, how would he not have a low approval rating when it was a solid, I don't know how many years of Biden old, economy bad, Biden old, economy bad, Biden old, economy bad. And then they're like, oh, look at his approval rating. What's going on? You know? And anyway, you know, and then Kamala Harris had a, you know, shorter runway than a drone has. See how I brought that into it?
Yeah, you did.
Huh, drone. Okay.
I see.
You
like,
said
you
said this is like the shark attack summer. This drone
because
because
totally
we're a
is.
nation of conspiracy theory idiots now.
Exactly. Yes.
Trump's like, we got to shut them down.
Shot them?
We need to shut them down. Yeah, here's a preview of what his presence going to be like. What is that? Huh? Shoot it. Right?
Yes.
What is it? Chris Murphy, whoever was on House Intelligence, is like, foreign enemies are not going to fly drones over New Jersey so we can shoot them down and,
they're
get all
not
their...
going to be lit.
No.
Yes, going, look at me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That would be called a Lindy Lee drone. Okay. Hey.
wow.
I hate everyone. It's not like
she
anyone's.
has your phone number, right?
Yeah. You're in her phone. She's in your phone.
You know she has your phone number.
Listen, I've been
can
hoodwinked.
block her
I've been
number, but-
hoodwinked by a lot of ladies, and it never hurts any less.
And a gay dude.
And a gay dude.
Yeah, that too. Okay. Wow. Yes. Now that I'm thinking about my judgment. Okay.
Yep.
20 minutes.
Somewhere, some member of legacy or corporate media has been telling people to be afraid of their family members who are Trumpers because they're going to turn you into the government. Well, Donald Trump isn't even president yet, so I don't know why you would have to worry about it this holiday season. But nonetheless, I tracked this down a little bit, and it all goes back to a social media posting by Joy Reid. I believe, if it came elsewhere, forgive me, Joy, but this is what she posted and what people are now quoting. Take a look.
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast and things get ugly and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting affirmatively, gleefully for this, and people may not feel so confident in you anymore. That's real, and you kind of have to live with it. So if you think that you can vote for what people see as their destruction and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, I think you're kind of missing the point of what people are upset about. They're afraid. And autocracy and fascism are things that are legitimate to be afraid of. So you may want to step back.
Okay, autocracy I understand. Fear I understand. But stepping back from your own family members, man, and my family, especially around holiday season, when we all get together, the insults fly fast and furious, and so does the alcohol. Seriously, if part of this was taken out of context, part of it is fear-mongering, and part of it is Joy being very cautious. Look, this is not the way you're going to deal with this problem, and the press is not reporting it very well. To deal with this problem, folks, we've got to talk to each other more, not less. And that's a problem the media has.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, she's in a mood.
Oh my God.
I was too needy
When
even
she-
for
when the
Bonnie
push was
last
saying
night.
Push, push in the bush. That's what got her going.
You were
I was too needy even for Bonnie last night. I was like Pepe Le Pewing on her all night. I don't know why I couldn't sleep, and I was like, she's like, get off me. Okay, you know who's still in this fight with us, Chris? Lincoln Project.
Okay.
Trump may have won the election, but he has not won the battle for our nation's soul. The only way he does that is if we stop fighting back, and that will never happen. We will resist, we will expose, and we are already preparing for the fight ahead. Thank you.
All right.
We welcome all people that are not shameless grifters, mercenary grifters, to our fight. We promise to upgrade our screening process. Okay, let's go to Karen in Chicago. See? Karen in Chicago. True Blue Politics, yet another spin-off of the Stephanie Miller cinematic universe.
That's right. Yes, and we just recorded with Frangela last week for our holiday.
Fantastic. I'll do the show.
Amazing.
I'll do the show.
Will you?
Sure.
Oh my gosh, Stephanie, I will email you. Oh my
Okay,
God,
all
I
right.
just got chills.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm doing
so-
John Fugle's thing, end of the year show. We're all helping each other. We're all liberal helpers, aren't we?
Because we have to resist it, and part of resistance is noncompliance, and our Democratic leaders need to hear from us. When they do an act of noncompliance and nonconformity, we have to let them know that we appreciate it. When they bend the knee at all, we have got to call them and put pressure on them and say, we're not going to need you.
Yeah,
because
them
if
going,
you're not in the fight with
whether
them,
it's Ro Khanna or whoever going, oh, we can work with Doge. You know, they don't want to cut the things you want to cut. He's like, oh, we get, with the defense, we could cut. They're not going to cut defense. They're going to cut your grandmother's Social Security and Medicare. Like, pay attention. They're not going to, if you're like, oh, yes, we could save money. They're not going to try to save money anywhere you want to. Your values don't align. 29 minutes after the hour, Rude Pundit next.
It's hard to do a cartoon on Trump because I always say it's like being married to a nymphomaniac. It's fun at first, but then it's just like a fire hose of craziness, and so it becomes hard to do cartoons on it a lot. I mean, I'm trying my very best, but it's weird.
It escalated quickly, and that's, as you know, if you've read my tweets, which you have, I'm not offended. That was very funny.
Scott Jennings was telling us the biggest scandal in the United States was, wait for it, Joe Biden's health. No, really. Watch.
It's the biggest scandal in America, and the level and volume of people who dedicated themselves to lying to everyone at home about this man's condition for 4 straight years up through this summer is breathtaking. It's a scandal of epic proportions, and it's a fair question to ask. Who is running the country? Who has been running the country? And as I said earlier, if you're worried about Donald Trump's advisors having influence, for the last 4 years, apparently this president, duly elected, but this president was not capable of fulfilling the duties of the office. And his staff and the White House lied about it and kept it from the American people. It's an absolute scandal.
The biggest scandal? Come on, that's not even close. Who's running the country, Scott? Well, right now it looks like Donald Trump is. He's not even in office, and that has nothing to do with Joe Biden's health. Not a thing. But who is running the country right now? Actually, it's Joe Biden. You want to know why I know it isn't Donald Trump? Because we spent 4 years listening to Donald Trump tell us it was infrastructure week at the White House and he was going to get it done. And he never did. Biden got that $1 trillion infrastructure deal passed. That's why I know Biden's in charge.
media I think, has been tamed. I think he's right that they basically, a lot of people have accepted the fact that, okay, he won. There was a little bit of sort of a passive aggressive thing that he said at the end that, like, I hope they don't turn on me again, or we'll have to take them on again. That sounded a little bit like, it would be a shame if something happened to your broadcasting license.
Exactly.
There was also plausibly denial. And again, that's Trump's key. Like, he sort of sent a message that was like, hey, stay in line. But, he and media, like moths to flame, they love one another.
We will never stay in line, never ever surrender. We shall fight him on the beaches, on the whatever, in the United States of.
Mark
Elias.
Yes, Mark Elias says Trump is a bully and bullies prey on the weak. They understand the power of fear and exploit it. Capitulating to Trump now, even before he's been sworn in, makes you more vulnerable, not less. Thank you, Mark. Yep. You know who will never kiss the ring? Normally, you and I love a good buffet, but not that kind of What is going on with the
I don't know. At
cowardice?
first, I thought you were slandering me, like, won't kiss below. I'm like, I am a kind and generous kisser.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it?
Wherever granted permission, I shall kiss.
Don't I know it? From a couple of sleepovers here at Casa Miller. I took him out for sushi that was as tender as
an angel's labia.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and he just showed his gratitude.
I used to say it with more enthusiasm, but
you're sleepy.
Yeah, I'm sleepy. I drove like 10 hours yesterday.
That's a long
drive. Oh boy!
Just to be on the show. Just to be on.
Thank
the show.
you. Can I just say, speaking of Mark Elias on Democracy Docket, he posted when he was 28 and living in the Jim Crow South. King gave another less famous speech that speaks to our times. He spoke about the need to confront fear with courage. Here's the quote. It's Martin Luther King.
What
is the quote?
Oh, okay, let's see if I can do this.
Courage breeds creative self-affirmation. Cowardice breeds destructive self-abnegation. Courage faces fear and thereby masters it. Cowardice represses fear and is thereby mastered by it. So we must constantly build dikes of courage to warn off the flood of fear.
Dikes of courage.
That's me. I am a dyke of courage.
I was sitting here going, do I dare say
you collided.
That's why I picked that quote. Not just because it's Martin Luther King. Okay. We must constantly build dikes of courage to ward off the flood of fear. I will be your dike of courage through this entire dark ages. Rude.
You know what you do with a dike? You have to stick your finger.
Yeah.
Oh,
rude, Louise. I don't.
Well, where's the lie?
He took something beautiful and made it dirty.
Where's the lie, though?
All right. I encourage you to stick your finger in this dike of courage and stand with me during this dark time. All right. Rude.
Yes.
All of that is so wrong.
What is this show about?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Historically, the show the week before vacation is very
loose.
That's one way to put it.
Freeform.
Yeah.
More than usual.
That makes it easier to stick the finger in the dike.
Right. It's not like I'm going to have an FCC license anyway.
No. It'll be great when you're just talking into a can in the Trump re-education can.
Yeah.
Just to you on the other can on a string.
Yeah.
It's 38 after, and here's Rude Pundit. You're like, you don't need to tell me what time it is. It's just you and me. Okay.
But it won't be daylight savings time.
No. God. Yes, I guess that was to distract from bringing back polio. Oh, Jesus. Okay. But Rude, we were just saying, I mean, this whole obeying in advance, ABC, they would have won this suit. I mean, this is, what the actual bending the knee looks like and being scared. They went down to Mar-a-Lago. Like, ABC executive. It's just, oh, my God. It is. And I think we're going to, we were talking about Lindy Lee. Everybody's been talking about that, or being on, Fox bashing Democrats now. We're going to have these disappointments, right? I mean, can I just say, what is going on? I guess I'm used to Bernie Sanders being all over the place, like, taking credit for Democratic wins and then bashing them when they're down. But like I think we have him saying that he should, Biden should pardon the J6 people. Criticized him for pardoning Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that.
I don't think Bernie said. I think Bernie said was attacking Trump for wanting to pardon.
Yes, he was. What I'm saying is he attacked Biden also for pardoning Hunter Biden, which I just don't agree with. I just feel like, what's the saying? We have to hang together or we're going to hang separately. Like, we can't. I don't understand that Trump pardoned, 200 and something rogues gallery of murderers and war criminals and God knows what, right?
Yeah, literal war criminals he punished. War criminals, by the way, that Pete Hegseth supported.
Yeah.
And who has always been supportive of war criminals. And so, yeah, he doesn't even believe there should be war crimes. But now I'm distracted like Trump. So I don't understand. You know what also disappoints me is that George Stephanopoulos didn't quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a perfectly reasonable thing at that point to say, you know what, if this is what we're going to do, if I have to personally apologize, then
it's that David Frum's reaction was completely on point for, Mika Brzezinski apologizing for him for something he said. And he said, it's my face on the screen, my name on the chyron. His joke was completely on point. Right. Yeah. And, but this is what, and then he wrote the piece about the climate of fear that causes this. Right.
Right. And yes, we are going to see people who turn, people who decide that
who are
they
scared.
Want to glom onto whoever is in power and ride that. And but it's not just that. It's also the weakness of the people that are replying. It's sort of like these bendings of the knee get more play because the actual resistance is so milquetoast. What is it that Hakeem Jeffries tweeted something like Trump promised to lower prices. He'd better do it. Like, really, man, that's the best you got.
Well, that's what when people are like, saying, oh, well, he can't do that. I don't know. Do we know that yet? Do we know if it's going to matter? I mean, we're talking about like he can't just revoke birthright citizenship. It's like you already have what's his the Republican senator, like there's like weasel words about how I mean, trust me, they will figure out how to do anything they can, whether it's executive order or whatever. I mean,
the fun part's going to be when the courts tell them that they can't, for instance, that they can't deport all of these people. That they defy the courts. That's when it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. Okay, where is this crisis going? And because he will say he can defy the courts, and again, he will cite that Supreme Court decision in the January 6th case again and again and again. And he will say that gives him the ability to do whatever he wants. Courts, laws, whatever be damned.
Yeah, hang on. I was trying to find, because obviously I have a silver lining stack now, because you know how I am. I like my happy, clappy.
You gotta see some.
But we were talking about, again, seems like Chris Wray was also bending the knee, obeying in advance, rather than fighting it. But so it was Sarah Isgur who on Threads everybody was talking about. She said, fact, Director Wray's resignation effective January 21st prevents Trump from naming Kash Patel as acting FBI director. Under the Vacancies Reform Act, Trump has to pick someone who is either Senate confirmed or has been at the senior pay level at the agency for 90 days before the vacancy occurred. So if the vacancy occurs before Trump has been in office for 90 days, he can't pick Patel. I hope so, but are any of the normal rules going to apply? Like, will he respect any rule or law?
No, because he's going to use the idea of an invasion on the southern border like Bush used weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
He's going to use a lie to justify everything that he does.
Declare an emergency, declare martial law. Can I just say South Korea, not only did they shut that down by dinner, they impeached and removed him already.
Yeah. Well, at least
that's how it's gone.
Process was you're impeached, you're out.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and now let's hold a trial.
Yeah, now Mitch McConnell, polio survivor, warning of the dangers of Donald Trump and polio. Yeah. Oh, my God.
like, dude, Mitch McConnell is the guy in the hot dog costume going, we're all just trying to find out who crashed the hot dog mobile. That's from I Think You Should Leave, the Tim Robbins.
So many great, posts about this, Rude, but it really is the ridiculousness of where we find ourselves. Jeff Tiedrich said, imagine a country so furious about drag performers that it voted for polio. I mean, Bob Seska said the polio vaccine will be replaced with Brondo because we are literally in the idiocracy as much as we ever could have imagined, right?
Yeah, and it's like what's worse than whatever you think a vaccine can do, it's polio.
Yeah.
It's like if you are actually sitting there saying and Trump in his Meet the Press interview a week ago, Kristen Welker asked him specifically, and he was like, well, polio vaccine, that was very successful. You'd have to work pretty hard to convince me. And I'm like, no, that's not the answer. The answer is I will never.
He told you on the camp, I'm going to let Bobby go crazy with the medicines. And so now the guy that advises Bobby is saying, let's revoke the polio vaccine. I mean, it was
ridiculous. Welker kept trying to say to him about autism, the connection about how it was one study that was discredited and revoked, and he was like, well, it used to be only 1 in a million people had autism, and now it's 1 in 100. And she just keeps trying. First of all, it's far off, but it's also she's saying, because we can diagnose it better. Medicine advances.
People don't even know when you see pictures of braces. It's leg braces. It's because it makes you end up in a wheelchair or dead. Measles
or in an
aren't
iron lung.
Yeah,
because you can't breathe on your own.
Mumps makes you deaf. Like we forget the horrors of these
too.
diseases.
Measles will do it
yes, because they've been gone for so long. I mean, Dr. Mary Brandt tweeted, "I've seen a child with tetanus. I've treated near fatal infections after chickenpox. I pronounced children dead from COVID whose parents refused to have them vaccinated. We have lost our minds, and we're about to lose so many of our precious children. I mean, and yet."
I can't wait for the unfairness of keeping smallpox jailed.
Yeah.
Free the smallpox, all creatures. I pardon smallpox.
Yeah, Mia Farrow said, I had polio when I was 9. I was taken from my parents, placed in a hospital for contagious diseases, the polio ward. I would see them once a week through the glass window at the end of my ward. I couldn't walk. It was terrifying. Kids died. Iron lungs were awful. Don't let RFK Jr. ban the vaccine. This waking nightmare just never ends, does it? You just think, wait, what did I just read?
Yeah. And again, it is all because of one single study. There is no scientist in the world, no medical scientist in the world that would say you have to transform your policy, even if that was a legit study, that you would transform an entire, generations and generations of successful policy because of a single study. You have to be able to repeat it. You have to be able to show all these things. And it's just, no, this one guy said.
Yeah. I mean, here's our discussion that's been all morning and will be maybe for the rest of our lives about people voting against their own self-interest, but also, I don't know what, disinformation, a new AP NORC poll, just 2 in 10 Americans approve of Trump's pick of Hegseth for defense, 2 in 10 approve of Gabbard, 3 in 10 approve of Bobby Kennedy. Well, how many people keep going, well, I didn't vote for the... He said it all. Yes, he said it. He told you. And now there's, it's just, story after story, whether it's farmers, whether it's, Mike from Pennsylvania said, missing from the exit polls from the election is a measure of how many people protesting over Gaza either didn't vote at all, voted for a third-party candidate, or left the presidential slot blank, or voted for Trump. I hope they survive long enough to regret their mistake. So now we've got, because, by the way, they said, he said, still waiting for Free Palestine protesters to go after Trump like they went after Biden and Harris. Where are you at now? Trump tapped Huckabee for ambassador. There's really no such thing as a Palestinian. Trump himself isn't ruling out Israel's annexation of the West Bank. I mean, most of us with critical thinking could have seen this coming. The question of our ages is going to be, why didn't all those people?
Yeah. As for the protest, by the way, I'll just say that that one of the things that happened in the after the protest was the banning of these protests. So now
saying they're going to deport those protesters.
Right.
He said that.
Right. So, but now that it's Trump, it's like I think that it's like, well, okay, universities, you probably should have let those protesters protest.
Yeah. Ay, rude. What a state. All right. Well, you know what? Happy Christmas, Kwanzaa to you.
Yes.
This is our last week before vacation.
Hey, that's excellent.
And Hanukkah starts on Christmas this year.
It does.
Oh, fantastic.
Hanukkah starts on Christmas?
I believe so.
Huh.
Wow.
Oh, you know what that means. End times. Rapture.
Yeah, I was going to say the Jews. Don't they just take everything?
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Oh, my God. The Jews are now taking our Christmas from us.
Coming in a drone to take your Christmas.
Yes.
Okay. We love you.
So we will talk to you in the new year.
See you in the new year.
All right. Have a good vacation.
Okay.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
And eventually you have the racist KKK fighting the fascist Antifa in the streets of Charlottesville. Both sides.
Boy, I'll tell you, the media sure gets one thing right. The extreme right wing and the extreme left wing in this country have both totally gone off the rails.
America is being destroyed by people on both sides thinking that the other side is destroying the world.
So many insane ideas on the left and the right, and I'm sorry, but real Americans have had it. We only hear about what the far right wants and the far left wants, but what about the majority, huh?
My take is that we should condemn violence and extremism on both sides.
On the right, you have these extremists who want to overthrow democracy and have a violent revolution. They want to deregulate the polluters poisoning our air and water. They want to privatize Social Security. And on the left, these extremist nutjobs think every American should have health care. It's insane, and it's both sides, people.
I blame both sides.
I mean, these nutjobs on the right are white supremacist Confederates who reject the 2020 election, they reject science, and they want armed civil war. And these extremist nutjobs on the left think women should have control over what happens to their own bodies. I mean, hello, is this the America we know? What? This is what Andrew Yang warned us about, guys.
Quit drinking that Kool-Aid because we're hearing it from both sides, the extreme right and the extreme left, and they have the microphone.
Because real America sees these right-wing fascists trying to scale back voting rights, trying to scale back LGBT rights, trying to sunset Social Security and Medicare. And then you got these psychopaths on the left who actually believe that Medicare should cover vision, hearing, and dental. When did both sides lose their minds, people?
America is being moved into chaos by people on both sides.
It's like the media says, what happened to the center? Actually, the media moved the center over here to the right, but what happened to it now that it's over here? Both sides don't want to put women in jail for abortion. Both sides don't play dumb about police brutality. Both sides don't want to do nothing about student loan debt. Both sides don't want to play dumb about the climate crisis. Both sides don't want to save white supremacist Confederate symbols. Both sides don't want to decriminalize weed. Both sides don't pretend that Donald Trump spreading a racist smear for years that the first black president wasn't really born here and isn't really one of us isn't racist. Both sides don't want to make it easier for 21-year-old males to get their hands on weapons designed to kill lots of humans really fast.
But having said that, I understand what he meant by both sides.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more. Give us a like, give us a good review, and subscribe to the John Fugelsang podcast, too.
was new again meant bell-bottoms and juicy tracksuits, not polio in the Great Depression.
Yes.
I'm nostalgic for certain things, too, but not iron lungs.
For juicy tracksuits?
Yeah, remember those?
I do. Are you going to wear them again?
No, I never wore those. Okay. Let's go to
fun Dutch hats.
Kevin in Indiana. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, Stephanie, Jody, Chris. Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah to all of you.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah,
and just
Kwanzaa
a
to you.
reminder,
yes.
As a recovering addict, everyone knows what relapse is. We have just relapsed with Trumpy, shallow Vance. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, just keep going and don't give up.
Yeah,
and
you know,
that's
Kev.
my message for today, and I love you guys.
I love
Take
you
care.
too. I love you too. We're having Donna Halper on this week, media historian, friend of Bob Seska. Any friend of Bob Seska, friend of
Well,
ours.
she's a big Rush
But
person,
he did the great interview show with her this week, and he has such a great question because we always talk about the pendulum swinging back, and he said, "Is there still a pendulum?" And we'll find out Donna's whole answer on that because it does feel to a lot of us that we're just in really uncharted territory here in America. I mean, the pendulum always does swing back, but have we broken the pendulum? Is there a pendulum?
Is the clock broken?
Right. Max Burns wrote the great Democratic strategist, wrote the great piece we talked about media infrastructure last week. So we are going to talk to him. We're going to fix this. We're going to have America all fixed by the end of by 9 o'clock Eastern. I mean West
Coast.
Pacific time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Eastern would be noon.
Sure.
But not daylight soon.
Okay. Max Burns next.
Welcome to Caffeinated, where we focus on the parts of a story that really matter by showing compassion to the opposing side. Take, if you will, Steve Bannon, the man who said, "Darkness is good." Darth Vader, Dick Cheney, Satan, that's power. Who published the op-ed, "Birth Control Makes Women Unattractive and Crazy," and many other op-eds for Breitbart, most of which read better in the original German. Who warned the media should keep their mouth shut, and that same media can't stop desperately trying to book him on all their shows. You guys, seriously, I'm a little worried about Steve Bannon. Not because he brazenly defied a congressional subpoena about his role in the terrorist attacks on our nation's capital of January 6, 2021, wagging his junk at it, citing executive privilege, even though he'd been fired by the White House back in January 2017 and was working at the time of said attack as a podcaster, and not because he's a white supremacist who published a lot of white supremacist articles and supported the border wall and the Muslim ban and lots of authoritarian dictators, and who actually did say that cities could be washed away in an orgy of de-gentrification. No, I'm worried about Steve Bannon because the man looks like an alcoholic Thom. Have you seen this guy? He looks like a sack of pus that developed rickets. He looks like gout that caught gout. The man does not look well. Yeah, that's Steve Bannon, the one who was arrested on a Chinese billionaire's yacht and indicted by a federal grand jury for wire fraud and money laundering because he was ripping off Trump supporters donating to his Build the Wall campaign, and then Trump pardoned him for ripping off his own MAGA faithful. That guy. Is he okay? I'm just worried because Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was up watching porn till 6:45 a.m. and his alarm was set for 7. He looks like the guy in the office that HR has to physically give a deodorant stick to after one too many coworker complaints. He looks like a diseased leprechaun freebasing in the Port Authority bus terminal men's room. But we need to put aside our petty differences and recognize that this is clearly a fellow human being who is in pain. Can we do that? Do we have the humanity to reach out with love to Steve Bannon? Because he looks like the guy in the zombie movie who doesn't want the other survivors to know he got bit in the last scene. He looks like an infected toe. He looks like that uncle who comes over and smells of cigarettes and cat piss and always wants you to sit on his lap, but you're 15. I'm just worried about the guy is all I'm saying. And yes, I know his wife alleges he physically abused her and wouldn't let their kids go to school with Jewish children. I know YouTube has taken down his videos because they glorify violence, and Facebook took down his videos for glorifying violence, and Twitter has banned him for glorifying violence. And I know he said that Mussolini was a guy's guy who had amazing fashion sense. He said that. But in fairness, lots of people who aren't fascists praise Mussolini's style. But I am asking you to look into your hearts and find some compassion. Because Steve Bannon looks like a guy whose parole officer makes him knock on every door and introduce himself whenever he moves to a new neighborhood. He looks like Pigpen the Hutt. Steve Bannon looks like a guy who was just forced to drive cross-country in a small car with no ventilation and the windows rolled up while sitting next to Steve Bannon. He's not a healthy man. We are just concerned because he looks like he just ate 20 pounds of cheese and it's coming out of his facial pores. And by the way, I know what you're thinking. What right do I have to make fun of Steve Bannon's appearance when I look like Joe Exotic's mullet donor? It's true, I still have my pandemic hair, but I know it. See, number one, I accept that I look like the love child of Beethoven and Loki. I look like John Wick during a nationwide Moroccan oil shortage. But number two, I'm just concerned about him. So while you cynically fixate on the fact that he called the Civil War the War of Southern Independence, or that he looks like physical proof that white supremacists are the greatest argument against the concept of white supremacy. And he said that conservative women are better than progressive women because, and I quote, they're not a bunch of dykes that came from the Seven Sisters School up in New England. You ask, how can Steve Bannon sleep at night? I say, in a puddle of his own sick. But that's mean. We gotta be the good guys and look after him and make sure he's okay. Because he looks like a police sketch artist rendition of mutated gonorrhea. And that's why we're starting Steve Pack. Your selfless donation, MAGA fans, of $100 or more will allow us to buy multiple shirts for Steve Bannon, all of which he can wear at the same time. Then, when he vomits Jägermeister up on the top shirt, he can simply remove it and continue his broadcast. So if you see Steve Bannon, put aside your differences and offer him your hand. But you know to wash it, like right away. Like wash that shit. And don't touch your face either, okay? Just offer your hand, but then soak the entire hand in bleach for half a day. Soak the whole arm in bleach for half a day. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. And remember, if Donald Trump pardons Steve Bannon for stealing from white nationalist Trump supporters, maybe we should thank Trump for setting Steve free to continue his fine patriotic work.
A longtime, lifelong Democrat, one of the major figures in the Kennedy family. Obviously, he has a lot of views that Donald Trump appreciates and supports.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Donald Trump is the president in the White House, and RFK is going to work for him. And whether it's putting American agriculture first or putting our kids first, this country is ready for a big debate about vaccines and a lot of these issues related to making America healthy again.
Yes. Yes, let's open up that
Didn't Michelle
debate
Obama
about
try to do
polio.
that?
I think
Didn't we have the debate?
polio, good or bad? You, Jody?
Didn't we have that debate 100 years ago?
Yeah, I think we had that debate. He is we'll call him a diverse choice? Yes, he has quite a diversity of mental health issues that are hard to diagnose. Allegedly.
He did have a brain worm.
Adam Serwer wins Blue Sky. He said, look, bringing back polio sounds bad, but it's a small price to pay to get rid of pronouns and email signatures and a black woman in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for highlighting the idiocy of our times. Reverend Nene tweets, you may be deciding between insulin and groceries while the CEOs decide between Paris or Barcelona, but at least that one trans girl in your state can't play badminton anymore. Okay. Welcome to the Idiocracy. Drink up. Everybody have their Brondo? All right. This is Max Burns is a Democratic strategist. I read every single word of his piece to Dana Goldberg on
we heard
Thursday. And now I'm going to read it to him, though presumably he was there when he wrote it. Good morning, Max Burns.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me and for the kind reading. Not a lot of people get to the end of the article.
It's, you know what? It's like Steffi's book club in here because I assume people don't read, and everything you said was so important, Max. I wanted to make sure. But, you know, I've been saying this, and I know it may seem self-serving because I'm in progressive media, but Max, to your point of your piece, it's not just me. It's this whole disinformation, information, what do we call it, ecosystem that we find ourselves in, that it's, you know, how your is called Democrats are checked out after their drubbing. Here's how they can re-engage. Just summarize for people, because I'm not going to read it to you, but you just made a lot of great points. Talk a little about your thoughts post-election.
Well, one of the challenges, and I don't think it's that surprising, is the Democrats feel really emotionally worn out by this. They really thought they had this. It was a tough beat. And as a result, we've seen places like MSNBC, CNN, viewership has fallen by 50% in some cases and is still declining. There are now some tweets that people are making that are getting larger viewerships than the entire primetime MSNBC lineup.
Right.
And part of this is Democrats have lost faith in this corporate media that they didn't feel well served by during the election.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is that the conservative media, places like News Nation that are pivoting to the populist right, Fox News, Newsmax, are surging in viewership as Republicans come back in and start to figure out what their talking points are for the Trump administration. So it's a real perfect storm of the actual news is starting to disappear. And what we're getting in place is infotainment propaganda news that riles people up but doesn't inform them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pure disinformation. And as we were saying, it's not like we lost on any actual, we lost on a solid wall of lies, Max, is what I always say. You know, were people really sending their kids to school and they were coming back a different sex, or Haitians were eating your pets, it would be a different story. But, you know, I think it's also that it seems like the mainstream media gets led by the nose by this right-wing ecosphere. Like their point of view becomes a right-wing talking point, right? The way they frame things, in my opinion. What do you think?
It really does. And the fact that they're so effective at this is because they've invested heavily. I mean, Republicans are still really conscious of 2008 and 2012 when Barack Obama really took over social media and Democrats had a huge advantage. They've been building that platform for over a decade now. I mean, there's a reason that the largest YouTube channels out there are all conservative propaganda networks like the Daily Wire, like Newsmax. And Democrats really invested no resources in that same thing. Max, you can't find a Democratic voice that's financed as well as any of those people.
Oh, are you speaking my language? This is why I think I may have had a couple of orgasms reading your piece and also just shouting like I was in church. It was a whole thing. But one of the things you mentioned in your piece is like, Chris, this is like Niagara Falls to us. Air America.
That's right.
Yeah!
That's
Slowly I turned because it ends up in every piece about why, you know, liberal radio, quote unquote, Max, doesn't work. And, you know, I would take issue as someone that's been doing this successfully for 20 years, as has Randy Rhodes and Thom Hartmann and Ed Schultz till he passed. We were just talking about, you know, as radio people, Air America just had a horrible business plan. They spent, you know, millions and millions of dollars in an infrastructure that could not support it at that time. Like the famous story is, Al Franken's producer got paid $750,000. So, and a lot of the great talent went on to do great things. Al Franken, great senator, Rachel Maddow, great TV person, but nobody that was running that had ever done radio before. Right. So again, the people that were great radio pros are still doing it. Including me. I was never Air America. Ed Schultz and I were Jones Radio Network. But anyway, your point is well taken. You just said if Democrats want to persuade investors to back left-of-center media networks, they'll first need to show their own support by financing those operations internally. That means redirecting the flood of DNC cash currently feeding the Beltway consultant class and making real investments in media talent. And you say a strong bench of lefty influencers would do wonders for Democrats' ability to set the media agenda. I mean, Max, that's been my whole mission in life. Over 20 years, we have supported and showcased and spun off so many amazing progressive talent, media talent. But you're absolutely right. We get virtually no financial support. So I hope this cycle wakes people up. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is so emblematic of what we missed, is that Republicans got together their mega donors in the wake of Obama and said, we need you to help us fund this media. It's going to run at a loss for a while until it builds up. But we need this institutional support. That's how Ben Shapiro got started and now controls the propaganda conversation. And what surprises me is we still haven't learned it. Rob Flaherty, who ran media for Kamala Harris, is in Semaphore today talking about how tough it was that Democrats have, quote, lost the culture. But the Harris campaign didn't invest a dime in progressive media, progressive YouTubers, or any of this infrastructure the way the Trump campaign did. And it bugs me that we talk about this as if we're passive observers when these are the people who had the money to distribute and then didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, our friend Dino Badella, who's one of the many voices that, now has his own show on Sirius XM Progress here with me and John Fugelsang and Michelangelo Signorelli and a host of great progressive talent. But he said while CNN and MSNBC have collapsed, the good news is it doesn't mean the Democratic base has checked out. We're now connecting on places like Threads, Substack, Blue Sky, etc. And caller volume to my Sirius XM show has been breaking records over the past month as people stop watching TV and instead engage more by calling in. We're building a powerful community. And I think that is so critical. And we keep saying, Max, you have to be entertaining. You sort of make that point, whether it's Fox News or some of the conservative, to me, smart and funny is the key. And a lot of the, Bob Seska and, Frangela and Hal Sparks and John Fugelsang, a lot of the people that, obviously we've platformed here are just such amazing, smart, funny, strong, voices. You're right. We just need the infrastructure. We have the talent.
Yeah, and the common thread there is these are all, yourself included, are people who understand media and understand that sometimes getting information across is as much about the show as it is about the process. And that people are not interested in tuning in to listen to their teacher. Right. We need to entertain and persuade. Right. And we see now that in the lack of that in the corporate news, people are going to Threads, people are going to Blue Sky, and these organic personalities are developing. The problem is they just don't have the money to mainstream.
Yeah.
And that's where the DNC needs to step up.
Yeah, listen, I'm just happy that my headphones have held out for this long in the interview. That's how much of a budget I'm on, Max. Because I don't want to miss a word. And also, you stop writing great pieces. I'm like Lucy in the Chocolate Factory. I can't keep up. The new one is Republicans plan to redefine U.S. citizenship as authoritarianism 101. I mean, this is how critical all this is in a critical time we're in. As you say, Trump's plan to deport estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants. You say even as economists warn his scheme would raise grocery prices for consumers, hobble American businesses. You say his grim promises not only include ending birthright citizenship and deputizing the military to serve as domestic police, but also a nightmare scenario where American citizens are deported from their home country alongside their undocumented family members. The Constitution and longstanding laws, you write, stand in the way of Trump's most absurd and extreme immigration fantasies, or at least they should. That's the critical sentence. Yeah. America's legal institutions may not be as strong a bulwark against the MAGA movement's xenophobia as institutionalists think, especially when so many Republicans are eager to give Trump anything he wants. I mean, Max, that's the key to this. Everything that we think, every guardrail, every norm, we're like, I don't know. Can we say for sure? Is he going to need crimes or evidence to prosecute people in Trump 2.0?
Yeah, I mean, if Donald Trump remembers even half of this when he comes down from the Adderall, we're in trouble because there's not really a structure anymore. I mean, I see all of these well-meaning Senate Democrats saying, well, the courts say you can't deport citizens.
Yeah.
As if the courts have proven to be the most reliable guardian of our liberties lately. They've essentially given the president complete blanket immunity to try whatever he wants. And if he can get it through, all the better. But
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like these appointments he's making are people who are especially interested in being quoted the law. They're there to do what Donald Trump wants to do, and they'll do everything they can until the courts say no. And that process will take years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only, sliver of hope is I think like Mark Elias talking about only maybe 75 cases get to the Supreme Court every year. So there's, thank God there's still lots of other judges and courts. But I think you're right. It's anyone's guess as to what. And I think Democrats, to your point of your earlier piece, Max, are playing by a set of rules that don't really exist anymore. They're kind of like, well, he can't do that, or well, this will stop him, or whatever. And I don't think we know what kind of unprecedented territory we're in yet, do we?
No, I mean, besides Project 2025, which has seemed to now be the government, 7 people in the administration are nominated who have co-authored major parts of that. So we have a sense of where this is going. And it does seem bizarre to me that the response has essentially been, well, we'll try to meet authoritarianism halfway and we'll put legal challenges up, which is going to work out great for the people who are going to be deported. And the years they will spend outside this country illegally waiting for the courts to hear their decisions. But I've always said you cannot tell the American people something is a crisis if our leaders don't behave as if it's a crisis.
Yeah.
And right now, the sense from Washington is that this is not that big a deal. And that to me is crazy.
Yeah. Well, to your point, I wanted to pick out one other point you made in your piece. You said 65 countries have enacted some form of birthright citizenship. Here's where let's come full circle to the media. Kristen Welker's just like deer in the headlights face when he said that. And not when he said, we're the only country in the world that has it. Is that not the easiest fact check in the world to go, no, like you just did, Max? No, sir, that's not true. I mean,
yeah.
And then we come full circle back to disinformation and bending the knee and whatever else you want to call it, right?
I mean, it's especially jarring because many of those countries that have birthright citizenship modeled it verbatim on our 14th Amendment. I mean, we are the reason that they decided it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And so to not know that is either bad preparation or it's bad civics. And if either one of those means you should not be on television talking to the future president of the United States about policy. Let's get someone who actually seems to know what the history of this is.
Max, I love that someone said, don't bring me the problem, bring me the solution. And that's what I love about your writing is that you're, sounding the warning, but say, here's what we do. You said Trump and Republicans are giving Americans ample evidence. They're serious about reshaping what it means to be a U.S. citizen, regardless of what federal law, the Constitution, or the courts have to say about it. I mean, I think this is going to be a time for people that do not bend the knee, whether it's Joe and Mika or ABC or, whoever it is. I think, as I always say, courage is contagious and so is cowardice. And so, you said specifically there are 3 special elections in January that offer Democrats an opportunity to shatter the GOP House majority. If the DNC is serious about throwing the brakes on Trump's extremism, those races must be the priority.
Absolutely.
But, your point, Max, is get up, brush yourselves off.
Yep.
Wealthy Democrats, start funding your infrastructure. Again, not just me, all of these people and the next generations of this, right, Max? It's not, I mean, I am as old as that lady in the Titanic right before she dropped the heart of the ocean and died. But my point is, there's a lot of great progressive talent. We just need the infrastructure that they've had. So thank you for, just your proactive solutions, and I hope you'll come on again. Our SiriusXM team was like,
yes.
When I read your entire piece, they're like, Max he's on our team.
That's right.
And I'm like, well, let's get him.
Absolutely. I would love to. And thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to finally sound and talk with you.
Yeah, you too, Max. I know you by name and, as a writer, and it's so great to have you on. Because, by the way, some writers suck on the air, but you were fantastic.
Yeah.
To your point about media infrastructure. No sucky
I'd
guests.
like to know explicitly who.
Never tell. Love you, Max.
Thanks, Max.
Happy holidays. All right,
Bye.
there it goes. 21 minutes after the hour. This portion.
somewhere, some member of legacy or corporate media has been telling people to be afraid of their family members who are Trumpers because they're going to turn you into the government. Well, Donald Trump isn't even president yet, so I don't know why you would have to worry about it this holiday season. But nonetheless, I tracked this down a little bit, and it all goes back to a social media posting by Joy Reid, I believe. If it came elsewhere, forgive me, Joy, but this is what she posted and what people are now quoting. Take a look.
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast and things get ugly and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting affirmatively, gleefully for this, and people might, may not feel so confident in you anymore. That's real, and you kind of have to live with it. So if you think that you can vote for what people see as their destruction and then demand that they still are cool with you and kiki with you and have Thanksgiving with you, I think you're kind of missing the point of what people are upset about. They're afraid. And autocracy and fascism are things that are legitimate to be afraid of. So you may want to step back.
Okay, autocracy I understand. Fear I understand. But stepping back from your own family members, man, and my family, especially around holiday season, when we all get together, the insults fly fast and furious, and so does the alcohol. Seriously, if part of this was taken out of context, part of it is fear-mongering, and part of it is Joy being very cautious. Look, this is not the way you're going to deal with this problem, and the press is not reporting it very well. To deal with this problem, folks, we've got to talk to each other more, not less. And that's a problem the media has.
portion of the resistance. In case you're looking, we're not the bend the knee portion of the resistance. We are the go yourself with the ice planet Hoth. Listen, however you're coping,
Or the moon of
Jody and
Endor.
I use our pets as emotional. They're emotional support. Well, they have me well trained. I was talking about whenever they're playing with a stuffed animal or a bone and they drop it, they just look at me and start whining. So I must get out of the bed or the bark lounger or whatever and go get it. They just look at me like.
You give in to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. And then I go
You
get
would
it.
make a terrible
Because now they're
parent.
like, well, that game's over unless someone does something about it. Okay.
It's like Lonnie. He won't take the cats to the vet. I'm like, you would be a terrible father.
They're just like, oh, it's on the floor. I can't. Jonathan Slater, this is how he's coping. He said, I found that I've been much happier since I changed from coffee in the morning to orange juice. My doctor explained it's the vitamin C and natural sugars, but I really think it's the vodka.
That'll do.
That'll do, pig. It's funny because it's true. Okay. Andrew Weinstein says, it seems rather hypocritical to say you want to end birthright citizenship when you're basically allowing someone born in South Africa to be your co-president. Thank you. Who elected him? Excuse me, I'm screaming. John Fugelsang, I've heard of him. He's good. He said if the cult cared about being lied to, they wouldn't be a cult. I keep saying that. I'm like, don't you get tired of... The guy that said a month ago he had no idea what Project 2025 is like, oh, it's fantastic, conservative thing. Yeah, we hire lots of people. I'm like, he's not even in yet, and he's admitting pretty much already that he's lied about everything, and they don't care.
They don't.
All right, Kimberly Johnson will join us coming up.
Scott Jennings was telling us the biggest scandal in the United States was, wait for it, Joe Biden's health. No, really. Watch.
This is the biggest scandal in America, and the level and volume of people who dedicated themselves to lying to everyone at home about this man's condition for 4 straight years up through this summer is breathtaking. It's a scandal of epic proportions, and it's a fair question to ask, who is running the country? Who has been running the country? And as I said earlier, if you're worried about Donald Trump's advisors having influence, for the last 4 years, apparently this president, duly elected, but this president was not capable of fulfilling the duties of the office. And his staff and the White House lied about it and kept it from the American people. It's an absolute scandal.
The biggest scandal? Come on, that's not even close. Who's running the country, Scott? Well, right now it looks like Donald Trump is. He's not even in office, and that has nothing to do with Joe Biden's health. Not a thing. But who is running the country right now? Actually, it's Joe Biden. You want to know why I know it isn't Donald Trump? Because we spent 4 years listening to Donald Trump tell us it was infrastructure week at the White House and he was going to get it done. And he never did. Biden got that $1 trillion infrastructure deal passed. That's why I know Biden's in charge.
He's talking to you like how somebody would talk to you in a bar. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I would always tell people about Trump. I'm like, look, if this guy came and sat next to you at a food court in a mall and you're eating with your family, if you're in the Short Hills Mall and a guy sits down to you with hair that looks like that, with orange paint on his face and a girdle, you know, speaking like he does, you'd be like, kids, we're going to move. Pick up your gyro and let's go to the other side of the room because this motherfucker is weird. And Trump is weirder than that. We don't have time in this hour to tell you how weird that dude is. That guy is really weird.
and violently to interrupt the peaceful transfer of power.
Okay, that would be Senator Chris Coons. Is anyone going to act shocked when he, in fact, pardons the J6 rioters? Because people will be like, wait, what? I don't, huh?
He told us he would.
Yes, right, because he said so.
Exactly.
Because he told you.
Yes.
Okay. Darlene in San Antonio knows where the Shut Up Mountain soundbite comes from, which so do we. Okay. That's not the one. But hi, good morning, Darlene.
Good morning. I have proof.
Okay, that's not the soundbite. The soundbite is, bitch, please take your line of bolt down to the 5 and dime.
Yes.
And sell it there.
Yeah. That's
yes.
Oh, is that you know where that's from?
That is from Frankie and Grace.
No, that's
the other one.
Shut
That's
the
the other
Up
one,
Mountain is from Grace and Frankie.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
I know, darling. It's okay. You join
I was
11
so
billion
excited all
people.
weekend.
Oh, thank you anyway. The 11 billion people have sent me the sound clip from Grace, and we know that's from Grace and Frankie, but thank you anyway. But
because it sounded, Megan's face did sound like the voice.
I know.
Yes.
I know. That's from Grace and Frankie,
People
but
get them
thank
mixed
you.
up. Yeah.
All right, carry on, Darlene. We love you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Why? I've gotten that. Every time we talk about it, I get 25 more people that go, I found it. It's from Grace and Frankie. I'm like,
I understand people want to help.
Thank you, liberal helpers. Thank you. Of which there are many. Captain Jack, thank you on Blue Sky. They said, resistors, if you can, listen to the Stephanie Miller Show. Every political resistance opposition movement needs some kind of underground radio to get everyone fired up while making you laugh, because you got to laugh to keep sane. We've been saying that for 11 billion years. We are literally underground. We are literally in my basement.
I'd rather be a little less underground and a little more.
Just to Max Burns' point, maybe a little bit of cash, Democrats, a little bit of infrastructure help here. Okay. All right, because you know what? I maintain if you watch corporate media, it's, I have to keep up with news to some degree, right? I'm just saying, Jody, what is my theme? Just, Donald Trump's made everyone meaner and
yes,
just doesn't care. And I'm talking about you, Life Alert guy, Life Alert husband. You know what? He needs to marry that bitchy Wayfair wife. That's what I think. Because this guy...
16.
Yeah, but... What?
This guy's working my last nerve. Because, we've all had like a mom that's older that you're concerned about. So the wife is concerned. Okay, here it is.
This is Elaine. Please leave a message.
I can't get a hold of my mom.
I'm sure it's nothing.
I've called her 5 times.
I'm sure she's fine.
She always picks up on the first call.
You're gonna make yourself sick. You've been worrying all morning.
Hello?
Hello, this is Life Alert. Your mother had an emergency, and we dispatched paramedics to her home.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what happened?
She had a fall, but don't worry. She is safe, and the paramedics are helping her right now.
Thank you.
Is Grandma okay?
She's gonna be okay.
See? And then now the husband's like got his look of concern on his face, like, oh no. I'm like, you heartless bastard. You just did the patch we're sending. I'm sure she's fine. Stupid emotional bitch. I'm sure she's okay. She wasn't okay. She fell, you heartless husband.
Went boom.
God, I hate the patriarchy. I hate the misogyny, you bastard person. I'm sure she's fine.
She's got her
Stupid, hysterical woman.
going
I'm sure
on.
she's okay.
You believed that horrible acting?
Yes.
Oh, no, wasn't it terrible?
Yes.
God.
And then when Life Alert calls, he's like, oh, suddenly I'm so concerned. Oh, you heartless husband.
I've had better industrial actors than that commercial.
I've acted better than that in web shows.
I'm just saying, don't be it's Christmas. We have, do we have the chipmunks? Oh, then. Okay. All right. It's my favorite thing every year. It's not Christmas till I do that.
Oh, man!
Okay. All right. Thank you, Rocky Mountain Mike.
Yeah, we look forward to that every
Our
year.
beloved JoJo from Jurors Patriot said, just thinking about all those Trump voters with pre-existing conditions who didn't know the ACA they voted against was the same thing as Obamacare they rely upon while electing an idiot who hired the psycho who's going to make polio, whooping cough, mumps, and measles great again at the same time. Thank you, JoJo. Chris, who said if you're a leader who previously boasted about your pro-democracy positions, you have a greater obligation if you feel obliged to obey Trump. Spare us your justifications and rationalizations. Just say so, stand down, and let someone else with more courage take your spot. Who said that?
Lucy Van Pelt.
I'm not sure. It was either Snowden Bishop who posted it or he was quoting Mark Elias. Either way, we live in the United States.
Well, how can I guess when you don't even know?
That's the whole trick of guess the quote. Sometimes there's no right answer.
So I could have been right.
Could have been Sue
right
in
with
Rockville.
Lucy.
Maybe it was Sue in Rockville. Hi, Sue.
Good. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. You know the brilliant Timothy Snyder, who's wrote on
Yes.
tyranny. He cut to the chase, and I'm 100% with him because I grew up with a family who lost 2 children to polio, had a first cousin who had polio and wore very heavy braces and stuff. These guys are not anti-vaxxers. They are kid killers. The Republican Party, in rolling back child labor laws, in trying to undo vaccines, are trying to kill children, just like they're killing women who won't obey them. They're trying to make laws that cause women to die. They don't care. And we have to call them, if we mince our words, if we act like these damn Democrats who don't seem to have any courage left in them, we use wiggle words. They're not anti-vaxxers. They want dead children. The cemeteries are filled prior to 1960 of gravestones of dead children who did not survive past the age of 10, and they want that back. And for us to pretend or in any way say, "Oh, well, this is a difference of opinion," this party is evil. Trump is evil. This evil walks among us, and we either have the courage with Mark Elias, Timothy Snyder, Midas Touch, you and your people, and I'm going to write Mark and ask him to please come on your show.
Thank you.
We have got to stand up because there's no mandate. There was some kind of treachery, I still maintain, but more importantly, all 75 million of us voted for decency.
That's right.
Voted for democracy.
That's right.
And we're going to stand
and by the
together.
way, a couple of cowards here and there, we're going to have that. We've had it since the beginning of time. Obviously, there are people in 1930s Germany that, bent the knee, that were scared. So Sue is right. There are 75 million of us. We can get personally disappointed with some people that, we had either looked up to or we're hoping we're going to have courage. But you know what? That's okay.
Disappointment's a theme of my life.
Yeah. Oh, please. Exactly. Are you? Are you? Theme of my entire life. Okay. Yes, Will said the polio vaccine doesn't cause autism. You know what it does cause? Not contracting polio. Thank you. Once again, speaking of more of us, Jane Mayer tweeted, beneath the hype, Hegseth is vulnerable. Only 2 in 10 Americans approve of him. I mean, not that Trump cares. I mean, it's just, it reminds me, remember when they said to Dick Cheney, like a huge percentage of, Americans are against the Iraq war. He's like, so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we are, that now people are waking up. It's like, these are all the people he told you he was going to. Where's my, okay. Pardon me. Yes. By the way, Baby Savers said Trump has 100% walked back most of his major campaign promises, and he didn't even wait until taking office to do it. He is laughing at you, and I don't know what to tell you about that. I guess if you don't care, give me Lincoln Project still in the fight with us. Give me 17.
A message for the U.S. Senate. Every action has consequences, and senators who vote for Trump's Project 2025 agenda are about to learn that. Trump's tariff plan is going to hit American families hard, and you'll be to blame. His team wants to end the biggest veterans health care program, and you'll be the ones who said our men and women who served lose their coverage. You'll be the ones who give billionaires like George Soros and Elon Musk huge tax cuts and screw middle-class workers. And don't be fooled. Elon and Trump are asking you to make cuts that hurt your state, your voters, real people. Not to save money, but to move it away from your state and into their pockets and to their friends and allies. A message for the U.S. Senate. Every action has consequences, and senators who vote for Trump's Project 2025 agenda are about to learn that.
Yep.
Trump's tariff plan is going to
I think it's repeating. Either I'm on acid or that's repeating. Does it repeat itself a lot? It seems like it's repeating itself.
It shouldn't repeat itself. Should it repeat itself? I don't think it should.
Speaking of the Senate, Gulf Coast guys said, hey there, Mama, since Mitt Romney has retired, maybe it's time to replace the Romney alert system with the Senator Collins concern-o-meter. Rocky Mountain Mike, is there a Senator Collins concern-o-meter for relative levels of concern about various atrocities? Christopher, who said he would fight inflation, he said he would seal the border, he said he would bring down crime. All three of those are actually already fixed. He actually in some ways is inheriting a situation very adverse to what he said he was going to be fixing because it's already at a place where he needs to be fixed.
Linus Van Pelt.
No, Peter Baker of the New York Times. Okay. Santiago Mayor said, you wanted lower grocery prices? How about we get rid of the FDIC, the ASEA, and bring back polio? Oh, and by the way, your groceries are going to cost more. Okay. Probably should. Oh, CNN's geopolitical expert Fareed Zakaria just perfectly explained how President Biden's global strategy has severely weakened Russia and our adversaries. This is going to be the worst possible time, as many experts have said, to capitulate to Putin, which you know he's going to do in record time. Like, Putin is historically weakened, and this is where... Why do you think he got involved to the degree he did in the election this time, right? Because everything was at stake for him with getting Trump back in. This is my favorite. I've seen this meme before, but I just love it. Anthony originally posted, it's almost impossible to believe he exists. It's as if we took everything that was bad about America, scraped it up off the floor, wrapped it up in an old hot dog skin, and then taught it to make noises with its face.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Randy in California. Hello, Randy.
Hi, good morning. I love you all.
Love you.
I was calling about that Hobag guy that borders on.
Tom Hobag?
Tom Hobag.
I heard him say over the weekend that he was going to have people rat on their neighbors. That should be some major doxing all across the country, some major chaos going on there.
By the way, anybody I've ever known that's undocumented, you know what I've said to them? If you or your family needs any help at all, let me know. So, you know what? There's going to be people resisting and helping. God, it's just, he's just turned...
Yeah, try to love everybody. That's the answer. Yeah, and then also that them dumping the Chevron Act, that's going to open up a lot of chaos also.
Yeah.
For them to run all over the country.
Yeah. Well, there'll be plenty of chaos to go around. There will not be a shortage of chaos. Can I predict that right now?
Very true. You are correct.
Thank you. Betty in Wisconsin, or Brett, I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
Betty.
Oh my God, I misgendered Brett in Wisconsin. Hi, Brett.
I don't mind. Good morning.
Can I call you
liberals.
Betty?
Hey, I got good. Sure, why not?
How about Wilma?
I've been called a lot worse.
All right, go ahead.
Well, that's stretching it.
Yeah.
Because then my name would be WWW initials.
Okay.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I've got good news for you. I know exactly where that soundbite is you're looking for.
All right.
It came from a Paul Rudd movie called Role Models. It's that woman who's the store manager in the 40-year-old version. Virgin.
All right.
Her.
Yes. Catherine
You know
Keener.
the
Catherine
blonde
Keener.
lady?
Catherine Keener. She was.
I think that.
That's the actress who played the lady who had sex
it's,
with
it's
Steve
in
Carell.
the movie Role Models.
All right.
She plays. Okay, that's
All
it
right.
then.
All right. Okay. 1 degree of Paul Rudd separation. Paul Rudd was the answer all along.
Always.
We should have just asked him.
Has he been on the show?
No.
I didn't think so.
I love him, though.
Okay.
I do too.
I love all his movies. He's fantastic.
And he doesn't age.
No, he does not.
He looks
He's
the
so
same
cute.
age as he did in
He's so cute.
Clueless.
I've watched 11 billion movies starring Paul Rudd. He's in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. 49. Oh, you know what I watched is Big Red. It was fantastic with The Rock.
Oh, I heard that was fun.
It was fun.
It
was
was
super
great.
fun.
It was great. We watched it over the weekend.
Yes. The Rock and what's his name? Captain America. It's dreamy. Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Okay, 49 minutes after.
Hi, I'm Ben Shapiro. You might remember me from Breitbart, holding my wood outside Home Depot, my 2016 op-ed, I will never vote for Donald Trump and here's why, or my 2020 vote for Donald Trump. What do you want? If you can't beat him, renounce your values and grovel before them. I don't care. I bet I make more than you. I'm sure I make more than you. And today, for the next 3 hours in this video, I'm gonna destroy Barbie. I'm gonna destroy her. I'm gonna own her. I'm gonna own her and destroy her. Those two things. I'm going to show you on the doll where the doll movie triggered me. The basic premise of the whole mise en scène is that Barbie is some kind of liberator figure, and basically that sets up 2 hours of non-stop, incoherent, feminist, liberal, women's studies, globalistic, secular human propaganda vomit disguised as cinema. And it's woke, too. Look, I spend the entire week feeding the grievance complexes of white men. When my weekend comes, I want an escape. I don't want woke Barbie. This Barbie ignores men and looks down on them and mocks them. And I've known women like this. Most women I've known, socially and in professional settings, have exactly like this. Honestly, I have not been this angry since that couples counselor kept trying to convince me that the female orgasm was real. It's not. You guys know. It's a myth. Like climate change. And racism. This movie uses the word patriarchy. A lot. A lot. I mean, use it once, fine. It goes over their heads, they don't know anything. But if you keep using that word, little girls are gonna know what it means. What's wrong with you? Most of the film is spent just smearing America's most vulnerable minority, wealthy white businessmen. Totally offensive. I was so outraged, I threw my booster seat at the screen. There's this transgender Barbie who exists in the film for seemingly no other reason than to tell children that transgenders are people that we should be nice to. Who's putting this in our kids' brains? Like, nobody ever gangs up on the trans Barbie, or calls it names, or says it's mentally ill, or misgenders it to make it cry, which, by the way, is completely legal, and you are allowed to do that anytime. They just accept it's trans like it's a person. Ha! Let's see if Islam lets you get away with that, Barbie. All the men in this movie are portrayed as these pathetic, frustrated vessels of impotent rage because they can't control women. Men are not trying to control women, and that's why we have to stop Greta Gerwig from ever being able to make a movie again. The way men are portrayed in this movie is unforgivable. Look, when my wife's date comes over on a Friday night to make love to her in our marital bed while I sit and watch in a dark corner from my chair, I don't want to see some woke Marxist giving her the pleasure I cannot. You might have seen in my last video, I bought some Barbies and set them on fire on my grill. How do you like that, Mattel? I burned your product, and all you've got is my money I paid you before I burned. In short, this film will make you so proud to be part of the gender that denies them control of their own bodies.
from North Carolina. Hey, Mama, what in the actual is going on in this country? Well, that's going to take longer than just one show, Kelly.
Yeah.
Although I've been trying to avoid mainstream media since the election, today proved to be a lot after realizing that Fetterman and had joined the Truth Social is now on the Clyburn train encouraging Biden to pardon Trump. Yeah, I don't know what the WTF, to be honest with you. Today's the first day I actually felt nervous. I know we're going to get through this, but days like today remind me how important our communities are, our safe spaces. I'm so grateful for your optimism and your humor. I watched Friday's show early Saturday morning and was crying laughing, watching you laughing at Chris's great find of the Lauren Bacall coffee commercial. She sounded like a young Road Flare Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, there are more oddities per square inch on this radio show than on the show. Our communities and our laughter and self-care will carry us through. Yes, they will, Kelly. I gotcha. Got your back, man.
I love that commercial. I always have.
She sounds like she chased it with like a pack of Camels.
Sure. Yep. Yes.
Leslie,
she wasn't drinking coffee. That was pure bourbon.
Leslie in Long Beach. Hello.
Hey, guys. I've told the story frequently, and I know I've talked to you guys about it a few years ago, but my aunt got polio before there was a vaccine. And she was one of the lucky ones to survive, but she was left a paraplegic.
Right.
Sadly, 49 years later, after spending all those years in a wheelchair, she died from post-polio syndrome.
Right.
And, I want to tell you, it was not a pleasant way to die.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, post-polio syndrome is kind of like the physical aspects of like dementia and Alzheimer's, except you still have your mind.
Yeah.
Your body's
Oh,
just
God.
deteriorating.
Oh,
God, I hate to say it. It's like Mitch McConnell's final karma for his role in allowing Trump. This is what's going to come back to bite all of us in one way or another. Kimberly Johnson back next on the Stephanie Miller Show.
So the U.S. media is talking a lot about secession these days. That's this fall's clickbait. A recent poll from the University of Virginia Center for Politics showed that 52% of Trump voters at least somewhat believe that the red states should secede from the United States. I'm still waiting for certain Trump supporters to secede from the Confederate States. But don't worry, though. No one's actually going to secede from their Social Security or their Medicare or their Medicaid or their pension or even their Obamacare. I know it's shocking, but some Trump supporters haven't actually thought certain shit all the way through. Also, keep this in mind. Donald Trump had 74 million votes. Half of that is roughly 12% of the overall population and dwindling, because the GOP and their media keep telling conservative people not to trust medical safety precautions during a plague. It's almost like they realize they don't need these voters to win elections in certain states anymore. But then a recent YouGov Brightline Watch poll said that 2/3 of Southern Republicans would back secession. Allow me to offer a solution. Right-wing extremists, we're going to offer you your own sovereign territory. Here's how it works. Y'all get a big chunk of Texas, okay? Or you can get chunks of 2 different states. I don't know, you want 2 full states? I love Alabama and Mississippi, but you guys can take those states and we will just bring in DC and Puerto Rico and keep 50 stars on our flag. The free, independent, trickle-down republic of Whitopia. Then all the racists and white supremacists, all the fascists, all the oligarchs, all the Proud Boys and 3%ers and Oath Keepers, rich guys escaping taxation. Middle-class white folks escaping somewhat browner neighborhoods. Industrial polluters escaping anti-pollution laws. All the white women who are dead inside. All kinds of ignorant, mean Americans escaping critical thinking, pandemic safety guidelines, proper English grammar, and portion control. All the men who still can't spell "your" properly. Welcome home. No taxation, no regulation, just like Somalia, but mostly Caucasian. Fly your Confederate flag. Ban abortion. Ban gay marriage. Ban being gay. Close borders. Open carry. All the guns you want. All the drugs you want. All the junk food you want. And no vaccines. Except for the rich people of Whitopia, who will then tell the working people of Whitopia, you don't need those vaccines. You know, like it is here now. And Supreme Ruler Trump gets to go full Scarface meets Caligula. Military parades in his honor, his face on gigantic billboards, stadium rallies. He can execute drug dealers on camera. He can marry his own daughter on camera. It's going to be like a Werner Herzog movie. Trump and his two sons, Fredo and Shemp, they can show up wearing full military uniform if they want. And best of all, he can sell his supporters even more merch. And all the liberals and progressives and moderates and sane Republicans will stay here, and we will work together, and we will fight, and we will compromise to try to help the majority of Americans. But we only have one condition. Before you secede, we get to install cameras everywhere. At the 3-month mark, we turn the cameras on, and the rest of the world gets to watch it streaming for $100 a month on pay-per-view, just to see how well your economic theories really play out with no interference from us. At the 6-month mark, when Whitopia has become a third world shithole hellscape with no regulations, ruled by a dictator thug who dresses like the captain of the Love Boat, then we'll send over a tiny piece of those pay-per-view profits as foreign aid. At the 1-year mark, we're going to have a lot of desperate Whitopian caravans of refugees at our southern border begging for amnesty. Boo-boo, I don't think so. Mexico's that way. Go make your case to them. America's full. And we have to build a wall. Now, of course, none of this will ever happen. Every red state has blue cities. Every blue state has red counties. We are interconnected as a people. We will rise or fall together. America is where you're stuck with people even if you can't stand them. You know what that means? We're like family. It's true, there are two Americas, but I view us as being more like a pair of conjoined twins who share a heart. We don't see eye to eye, we're not the same, but we can't be separated because we share the same heart. That's America. Although, in reality, in this scenario, only one of the twins has a brain, and the twin that doesn't have a brain won't stop just beating the crap out of the one that does have a brain. The one that has a brain just has to sit there, I guess, and fucking take it, because that's civility, right? When the brainless twin goes low, we gotta go high, so we just keep getting pummeled in the face by our brainless twin because we share the same heart. And that's America. And they asked me to end this on a positive note. This is cold.
Not qualified to be FBI director, and someone who claimed, for example, that he wanted to shut down FBI headquarters early in his tenure and open a museum to the deep state. So this is a conspiracy theorist. It's also someone, I think, who demonstrated, sadly, a principle of the first Trump administration, and that is you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and the bigger the sycophant, the higher you rise. He's risen pretty high.
Senator Adam Schiff, star of Stage Screen, LA Sexy Liberal. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Nancy Pelosi, I want to punch him shirt. Remember she said that about Trump on January 6th when he said he was going to come to the Capitol? I know we're not going to agree on everything. Some people are still angry at Pelosi for this or that or whatever, but can I say I think she will be the greatest speaker in our history. And that sounded nasty, Jody. Oh my God. She fell on marble and broke her hip at 83 years old. And so we just want to send a bunch of love and light, a healing light to Speaker Pelosi. Aaron, moving forward, Steph, these are difficult times. However, I'm glad your show is there for us. It's been so comforting to know we're all in this together. Ugh. And we have each other to gain strength. What was hardest as all in this is a lot of us were in a bubble. Everyone from your show to Hal Sparks and Bob Seska were thinking it would turn out in a positive way, and we agreed. Yeah, boy, howdy. Almost every pollster, pundit, etc. For one thing I refuse to do now, though, is watch mainstream media. I will not give up listening to you. You are essential to listening for so many of us. I don't want to be in this bubble, though, that we were in up until election night. So I really hope y'all can do some brainstorming, figure out how we can burst our bubble on your show so our hearts aren't broken so often. It's weird, but my first thought is I think I need to get in the best shape of my life, so I guess one positive came out of this. I can actually pull it off. Yes, do it, get in the fight. Stay strong, we will all support each other. I will be listening. Aaron, thank you. Well, you know what? This entire Stephanie Miller cinematic universe is in this fight with you, including this lady is back. Podcast. Kimberly Johnson is here. Hi. The hero of the Stephanie Miller cinematic universe. Kimberly Johnson, who is not just Bob Seska's refrigerator sex partner. Kimberly Johnson. We love you, Kimberly Johnson. Here are you on the show. Kimberly. You and your Johnson. Kimberly. Oh, hi. Welcome back. Welcome home, Kimberly Johnson.
Thank you so much, and happy holidays.
Oh, yes. Happy Chris Mahana Kwanzaa to you. Yes. So I've been quoting you in hour one. You said of Lindy Lee, I've been in private groups with her. I never trusted her. And now she's a Trump supporter. And I said, I'm putting Kimberly Johnson in charge of vetting my personal life. You are in charge of my dating life from now on, because clearly your instincts.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of evident. You could see her behavior behind the scenes was really about kissing up to certain people, I would say specifically men. And she ignored certain women. And I would say, I saw that she did, because I was in several groups with her.
Yeah.
And there were certain women that I saw her kiss up to them because they had massive followings. But if it was somebody like me or other people like within my following range, she kind of just ignored us. And I just felt like something was off. And it's so funny because all these women are either privately messaging me or they're saying publicly, like, I knew there was something weird about her. And I think that we just all picked up on the fact that she was not authentic. She was just out there for clicks and attention.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and, I said off the top of the show, Kimberly, like, I'm not going to apologize for showcasing amazing progressive voices over the last 20 years. And, 99.9% of them are you and Bob Seska and people like that remain amazing progressive warriors. So, let those of you who's never been, tricked by someone or disappointed by someone, throw the first stone. Because I've seen online, like, oh, Stephanie Miller fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Well, lots of people did because she had a large following. She was young. She was Asian. She was, her tweets were saying all the, putting out the messaging that we wanted to put out there.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you're right. But I personally, Kimberly, our audience that has learned to trust us over how many years, and so I do feel like people are like, oh my God, I thought she was great at Philly Sexy Liberal or when she's been on the show. So, as our audience automatically supports the people that we platform because, there's so many amazing voices out there. So it's a personal disappointment. I will give you that.
Right. But I mean, this has happened before. We were talking before the show started that there was, I won't say his name, but there was another
We've had a couple of clinkers.
Yes, we have.
I know one that messed up your pool.
He and I tried with him, I really, he was on my show. I was on his show. and we were having not a love fest, but we tried to have a love fest. And it was funny though, because initially I'm not going to say his name, but first interaction I had with him was, I think he suggested that we punch Nazis. And both Bob and I were like, no, let's not go to the violent. And so I wanted, like, I didn't necessarily like his messaging at first, but then he and I were both on the same page with Elizabeth Warren, and and it was like I really thought, okay, let's make this work. And I knew he was on your show, so sometimes people say all the things and they appear to be one way, and then you find out later. So it's not your fault or anybody's fault.
No, but you make a good point, Kimberly. As liberals, we tend to be like that, And if someone's on Bob's show, I trust them right away. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, if they know, And so I think we all sort of are liberal helpers, and we trust each other. But this is not just liberals, Kimberly. This is humankind. We've all been tricked or grifted by someone, or conned by someone, or disappointed by someone who we felt betrayed us. I mean, on a larger scale, I feel like ABC betrayed us. It's like, talk about bending the knee. And as Jody said at the top of the show, they would have won that lawsuit. He was quoting what a judge said about that he is an adjudicated rapist. And so they didn't have to apologize or pay that out. They did, but this is what Trump's going to do, is try to make people, fear going broke enough that they'll just give up.
And it just makes you wonder, like, why are these, whether it's Mika or Joe or ABC or Christopher Wray, what's going on? It's weird, because it seems like everybody's just like, their knees are bending and they're falling immediately. There's no backbone. And that's what's concerning me about what's coming up after January 20th, because if it's already happening now, and it's our legacy media, I mean, the ABC is as legacy media as you get. And what are we going to see? I mean, is it because they want that access and they're just capitulating for the access? Is it something more nefarious? I don't know. It's upsetting. And
that's why there was such a backlash to Joe and Mika going to Mar-a-Lago and bending the knee, because it's like we keep saying, you can model cowardice or courage. And I think that, honestly, people are on our side are going to be drawn to the people modeling courage, like you and like Bob and like Mark Elias and Allison Gill. And, there's so many people in our universe that are so amazing and there's 75 million of us. And so I think, it's interesting. Kimberly, when you said, I'm not going to say his name, Chris knows that. We don't ever trash people that have been on the show, whether I've worked with them or I just don't mention them again. I'm not going to engage in trashing anybody. I think the Lindy Lee thing is just because it's so high profile and it's so all over social media. And it's for people that don't know and just tuned in. We thought she was this amazing Democratic activist who had a huge social media following. Again, young, diverse. She was Asian. She
was able to raise a lot of money.
Yeah, first person in her family. She, English wasn't even her first language. I mean. So anyway, but so now she's become the Democrat bashing Fox News person, I guess, and sucking up to Fox News and how great Pete Hegseth is and how horrible, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are. And I think a lot of people on a large scale feel really disappointed and betrayed. And
I would like to say, though, people are calling her a turncoat. I don't think she's a turncoat. I think she's just an opportunist who's touch your finger and where is the money coming from now? And it's sad, she acted for us. She did a great performance as a Democratic activist, and we all pretty much bought into it. Even though I didn't like her, I didn't think, I just felt that I couldn't put my finger on it, really. I didn't like her behavior behind the scenes, but I didn't think, oh, if we lose, she's going to go to Fox and start praising Trump. I never assumed that.
Yeah. I was saying there was a lot of look at me and here's my TV appearance and look how much money I've raised. But I thought, quite honestly, a lot of people are self-promoting that do what we do for a living. And you're like, that's part of it. But I thought it was, you retweeted, to your point, Fred Wellman, who said, let's be clear, I'm not aware of Lindy Lee having ever worked on an actual campaign. I think she ran for Congress twice and lost. But she had a ton of money and was buying her way into fundraisers and events and complaining if she didn't get a picture with the VP. She isn't a Democratic official, and she sure isn't a political strategist. And you just said she isn't and he also said she's not a DNC official in any way, shape, or form. She's a donor. But as Chris said, she'll say what Fox News wants her to say about Democrats. Now she's going to bash Democrats.
That gets her more invites.
And it says on the Chiron, Democratic official, Lindy Lee, she's not a Democratic official. And speaks for the Democratic Party or whatever. So, but I think as a woman, Kimberly, just the fact that she threw Kamala Harris under the bus by going, oh, she's ruined it for all women now. It's like, The one person you cannot blame in any of this is Kamala Harris. Like, she ran an amazing campaign given the shortest runway in history.
Well, the same thing could be said about Donald Trump because he lost in 2020, so I guess he ruined it for all white men, right?
Right. Yeah, right. Or orange men, whichever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Orange men with piss yellow hair.
Yeah, I mean, it just, but you were saying you'd never heard of her, and then she was everywhere. Now she's on Fox praising Trump, and you just said so many opportunists out there, and liberals are too quick to trust those who say what we want to hear. I mean, you know, Chris keeps pointing out that all my former Republicans are going to sting me when we get to the other side of the river. But a lot of us are like, I don't care. You know, I need any ally in this fight against what you and I know is really the biggest existential threat we've ever seen in our politics. I'm like, fine, come on in, Joe Walsh, Michael Steele, whoever, you know. So, but I get what you're saying.
I'm like very jaded, and I'm still, you know, trying to find my equilibrium from what happened, and sometimes, you know, I'm tweeting out things, or I don't want to say tweeting because I'm not really on Twitter anymore, but I'm on Blue Sky and I'm posting things, and I'm just not going to say skeet. But anyway, I'll say something and then I realize people don't like it because I'm kind of being negative, so I delete it. But I feel kind of negative right now. And as far as Lindy's concerned,
okay. That's okay. I mean, you know, I like my liberals happy clappy, so, you know, thanks for coming to the light. No, but, you know, we keep saying that, you know, you got to give people the grace to be in wherever they are. You know, they always say like the stages of dying or whatever, you know, we're all in a different place, you know, anger, depression, bargaining, acceptance, like, you know, we're all in a different, and that may go like this, and that's okay. You know, give yourself room to be human.
I just want to say really quick, because of all this, I mean, I'm going to be real quick on this, but I'm coming out with a new podcast, and it's going to be in the new year, and it's not political, but it's basically, I've been working on for the past 5 years, intentional manifesting, which, okay, that sounds all woo-woo and everything, and there is a woo-woo aspect to it, but there's also a very practical aspect where it's giving me right now coping skills, and you know, it's getting all the way to the core of who I am and how I think. Yeah. Because to me, manifesting your life is how you're thinking, what you're thinking about, how you're thinking, how you're feeling about yourself, how you're feeling about what's possible. And so I want to be a helper. And right now with politics, I'm still going to keep up my Start Me Up podcast, but I'm feeling very different. I don't really understand my place anymore. And so I know that with what I've learned over the last 5 years, I can share with people to help them cope. So just FYI, it'll be coming out in January. It's not all set up yet, but I'm working on it. So
your place in life is as my matchmaker and screener, or that's what your place is. With your razor sharp instincts about people. I think that's fantastic, because I think it's just you love Jeff Tiedrich like I do, but you retweeted him saying, imagine a country so furious about drag performers that it voted for polio. I mean, it's hard to process where we are now, and so, you know, you can be, and that's what you were saying about, you know, Joe and Mika starting with the bending the knee. It's okay to say you're afraid, you know, but they don't say that. You know, they make up some BS that everyone's BS detector went off, you know, about, oh, it's not about fear, it's about civility. It's like, oh, please, you know, anyone recognizes ass kissing and cowardice, you know, so that's the thing. It's not how you're feeling, it's what you do with it. We're all afraid, Kimberly. I mean, this is what you're saying about ABC. Think of their deep pockets. The point is to chill the rest of us that don't have deep pockets, right? I mean, Trump is already saying, I'm going to come after anybody doing bad coverage of me or whatever, right?
Yeah, and that's really very upsetting, you know, because it's like all of us here are making our living talking about politics, and we've always had the opportunity to just be honest, and now you're like, what's going to happen? How is this going to go? Yeah. It's very frightening, and it's just, you know, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Because he's putting in this administration that is, it's like Bob and I are watching The Sopranos, and we feel like Tony Soprano would do a better job than Donald Trump.
He's a better psychopath. All right. 21 minutes after the hour, we have...
Scott Jennings was telling us the biggest scandal in the United States was, wait for it, Joe Biden's health. No, really. Watch.
This is the biggest scandal in America, and the level and volume of people who dedicated themselves to lying to everyone at home about this man's condition for 4 straight years, up through this summer, is breathtaking. It's a scandal of epic proportions, and it's a fair question to ask. Who is running the country? Who has been running the country? And as I said earlier, if you're worried about Donald Trump's advisors having influence, for the last 4 years, apparently this president, duly elected, but this president was not capable of fulfilling the duties of the office. And his staff and the White House lied about it and kept it from the American people. It's an absolute scandal.
The biggest scandal? Come on, that's not even close. Who's running the country, Scott? Well, right now it looks like Donald Trump is. He's not even in office, and that has nothing to do with Joe Biden's health. Not a thing. But who is running the country right now? Actually, it's Joe Biden. You want to know why I know it isn't Donald Trump? Because we spent 4 years listening to Donald Trump tell us it was infrastructure week at the White House and he was going to get it done. And he never did. Biden got that $1 trillion infrastructure deal passed. That's why I know Biden's in charge.
Kimberly Johnson of the Start Me Up podcast and just general awesomeness is here. You retweeted Mark Elias of the United States of.
Mark Elias.
Thank you. He's one of the people that is inspiring me, along with you and you're kind of bumming me out lately, but Bob is inspiring me, and you'll get there. But you're pretty, so I don't care. But Mark said that resistance after 2016 was a success, but we need something bigger and more durable this time. We need an opposition built for the long term. We need to stop being tired, ignore the cynics. I can promise you my team and I will be in the fight. If we all do our part, we will win. That's where I am. And, Kimberly, like we were saying, we all have life stuff going on, so like if you take a little longer than someone else to, get back in the fight, that's okay. It's important to take care of yourself, right?
Well, I'm on hiatus right now from my podcast, Start Me Up. So it's going to come back on the 9th. And what I'm going to be trying to focus on primarily, I know I'll have a variety of guests, but I want to talk to people like from Demcast and promote things like Indivisible because, I say things online and I'm in a bad mood and I'll say something like memes and snark isn't resistance. And I do understand its place, right?
Yeah.
I deleted that because people misunderstood me.
Yeah.
And I just clear. I do think that we have to laugh. We need humor and we need to be able to vent, but that it can't stop there. And I think that a lot of us are used to just being online warriors and that's where it ends. And I think we have to start getting more comfortable with understanding it's going to start at the local level. And so
Right.
It's contacting your congressman or whatever. We should be used to that.
And snark does have its place. You retweeted Tony, who said, breaking, it's being reported Nancy Mace is in critical condition after a trans person said hi to her at Best Buy. She's like the dog and There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
She's just bandaged. All right.
Exactly.
More Kimberly Johnson.
American democracy.
In light of what the president-elect said to me, that yes, he does think that members of the January 6th committee should go to jail, do you think that Mr. Biden should issue preemptive pardons for the entire January 6th committee?
Well, I think he might want to consider that very seriously. Look, that is an outrageous statement. This is what authoritarianism is all about. It's what dictatorship is all about. You do not arrest elected officials who disagree with you.
Okay, I'm with you on that, Bernie. What is going on with Bernie? I just think we have to get our together, as on our side, because obviously I agree with everything he said there, but then he's like saying he shouldn't have pardoned Hunter Biden. When Republicans defend any illegal, whatever you want to call it, despicable thing Donald Trump does. And I don't know how you felt about that. I think Joe Biden was absolutely correct in pardoning Hunter Biden. I don't know why you're splitting hairs going, oh, these pardons would be okay, but that pardon was not okay, right?
And we all knew that it was political. We all knew that it was just revenge. And even the people on the jury said this is ridiculous. Yes, he's guilty, but this is ridiculous. So I'm really glad that he pardoned Hunter. But yeah, I mean, with Bernie, back and forth. Sometimes I'm on the same page with him, and then other times no.
Well, I just was saying too that he voted for every single thing that helped working people, and then the minute Democrats win the election, he's bashing Democrats, going, oh, they abandoned the working class. It's like you were there to get your face on the bill signing when you voted. You know that Joe Biden didn't abandon working people. So it's just. I think I get it. Everyone right now is scared. Everyone's looking for their place in the new, the new world order, right? Right.
I can feel it, and I can just see in regular voters out there that there's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of not knowing how to feel about things, and that's totally understandable because we are in a new kind of era.
But to say like, oh, I think whatever, it's a bad precedent, for him to precedent. Donald Trump doesn't give up about precedent. It's not going to affect anything he does. He's already said he's going to pardon the J6 rioters, right? It's like, well, now because he pardoned Hunter. I mean, it's like, what? The Democrats, we keep saying it. We got to stop playing by rules that don't exist anymore, right?
Exactly. The rules, the norms, the traditions. This is all changed now, and unfortunately, we have a news media that is capitulating, and so we have to. I mean, this is a place where I've heard that it in an autocracy, it's at the very beginning when we have the most chance of not letting it take. I don't know how to say it, but
right.
So there's got to be. I mean, I know Mark Elias is talking about we've got the courts. Yeah. So I mean, that's what we've got, and then again we have our individual power where we have to put pressure on elected officials.
And by the way, this latest thing, the post office, after weekend reporting indicating Trump is actively thinking about avenues to privatize the U.S. Postal Service, progressives decried any such efforts. Well, are we going to be able to stop him? I mean, it seems like the Postal Service is the test case for what he's trying to do. He put in Louis DeJoy, who's completely incompetent, to destroy it, which he has, and then they make the case to privatize it.
He should be in the jail.
Yes, thank you, Chris, for that joke. That is so new. But yeah, I mean, this is the test case, is what they've done with Mark Pocan, what does he join us?
Pocan. He joins us after the first of the year.
Yes. Yeah. He said the post office is in our Constitution. There's no way we let Donald Trump privatize it. Fire his former pick for postmaster, DeJoy, and let a real professional run it like it should be run. The first priority is delivering mail. Cut the Pentagon's bloat if you want to save money. Well, I love Mark, and I'll talk to him about this, but they're not going to do any of that. They're not going to. That's not where they're going to cut bloat. Is the defense budget, and is the Constitution going to matter? It's in the Constitution. I don't.
I don't think it will, and that's what's worrying me, because I feel like for them the Constitution is just a word. It's not a document to.
And I agree with fire DeJoy and put a real professional, but do you think Donald Trump's going to do that? No, the point of all these picks are they're people that don't believe in and are going to blow up the agencies they've been assigned to run, right?
Yes. And what does that look like? What does that turn this country into when it's one after the other? How does that, where are we going to be?
Right. Where are we? Oh, yes. Let's talk about Pete Hegseth. Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Pete
no.
Hegseth is a person, there are serious questions about him. And even in the recovery tour, so to speak, the we're fixing the PR of Pete Hegseth, some of the stuff that has come out is pretty shocking. I mean, a senator gave a pull-aside interview to a bunch of media where he talked about how he and Pete Hegseth have discussed how, if confirmed, Pete Hegseth would stop drinking. Like, these are not the kinds of pieces of commentary that you want senators to be doing in the halls of Congress. So maybe he gets confirmed. I'm not sure that Pete Hegseth being confirmed is going to be a DOD with someone at the helm with a lot of credibility. He is still really taking a beating, and I think for good reason.
Speaking of bending the knee, I mean, how are you, Joni Ernst, who's been a woman in combat, who has been sexually assaulted in the military, humiliated into voting for Pete Hegseth? That says everything you need to know about the Republican Party today.
It makes me wonder because, early on, I don't have it in front of me, but the Russian news agency put out a statement from a Vladimir Putin aide, which was basically like, okay, we helped Donald Trump, and now it's his turn to help us. And if he, a responsible leader will, something like that, all the wording that they say that it's just mafia type. And I feel like I don't blame everything on Putin and Russia, but to watch what's happening, we do know that Vladimir Putin is he always has been telling Donald Trump what to do.
Yeah.
And he does him even more now. So when you watch all of this capitulation, when you watch everybody just folding, what is going on?
Yeah.
Are threats behind the scene? And I'm not saying it's coming from Russia, but I'm saying that there is that Russian influence, and then there's Donald Trump, and he has access to information on these people.
To the point he's going to put a Russian asset in charge of our national intelligence.
Exactly.
Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, I keep saying just cut out the middleman. Just make Putin the director of national intelligence. I mean, it's so...
and she grew up in a cult. There's a magazine art. I think it's New York Magazine. I'm not sure, but you can Google it. That she grew up in a cult, so she's got that cult mentality.
Yeah. Oh, she absolutely is a Putin pick. I gotta say for DNI. One more talking about RFK.
I support RFK 110% to be the new secretary because I think he brings a lot to the job that's unique. He's going to shake up these departments.
Oh, yes.
But Donald Trump's in charge. He's going to be he's the guy in the White House that's going to be in charge, and RFK is going to report to him. So I have a lot of confidence and comfort in him being the new secretary because I know who's in charge at the end of the day.
One thing that'll make polio a lot better. He's a what do you say? What do you say? What kind of pick is he? He's a
diverse.
Yeah, he's a diverse pick. Right.
Well, that's a good adjective. Diverse.
Yeah.
Did you see? Was it this weekend? Bobby Kennedy tweeted a picture of his meal, and it's like this disgusting pasta, and he said it's raw meat, raw eggs, raw everything, chased with raw milk. I'm like,
it was like gross.
And there's bird flu going around, I guess, in raw milk. So let's just give it all to RFK and let him drink it.
Yeah, drink up, everybody. Let's go, Darwin. Yeah, and I got some of it as trolling. Like, did Daniel Penny, who just, murdered Jordan Neely, allegedly?
He was acquitted.
Sat with Trump and Vance at the Army-Navy game. Did you see that? I mean, here we go again, like with the Kyle Rittenhouses and who they make into heroes, right? He was in. Vance described him as a good guy whose life was imperiled by the mob. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. I mean, by the way, Tulsi Gabbard was also there, and Pete Hegseth went to the game. Just this rogues gallery of, I mean, and the most striking thing to me about this Daniel, what's his name, Penny thing, is the number of bystanders that were like, stop, he's dying, you're killing him, he's under control. Like, don't, I don't, anyway, go ahead. Sorry, your thoughts.
Well, this just brings me to the other guy, was Luigi
Mangione.
I mean, the thing that, I was seeing, and I was getting some blowback from people, but I've been seeing liberals putting him on a pedestal, and I just feel like we can't do that. Like, we can't.
Not me.
I understand that there's good that's going to come out of it, where we're going to talk about it in a way. We're talking about the healthcare system, and, it does make a difference. But we should never be supporting vigilantism under any circumstances.
Thank you.
civilians killing civilians based on personal grievances. And then, I mean, if Luigi were a man of color who didn't have a lot of money, I don't think that he would be put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
that we have to be very careful about
No, I've been saying that every day, Kimberly. And that makes me mad when they're like, "Oh, the left is celebrating." I'm like, "No, nobody
No.
decent on the left I know is celebrating a murderer."
but
Everyone agrees the healthcare system is broken, but I know I saw a thing where the other inmates are like, "Free Luigi," and he's going through such a hard time. It's like, no, then we're aligned with the January 6th rioters, where their fill in the blank cause was, "Oh, well, this election was stolen," and Trump said we have to fight or we aren't going to have a country, and so that was the justification for my violence. And then we're,
Right.
Yeah.
Just we can't be doing that. And I feel like as great as it can be to have discussions about really important things, it can't be because of vigilantism.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. About Luigi Mangione. Other inmates in the prison where Luigi Mangione is awaiting extradition called for him to be freed. He has a cell to himself, and one inmate said, "Luigi's conditions suck. Free Luigi."
Wow.
Okay. Then how do we have any moral, clarity when we say you shouldn't pardon the January 6th, criminals if we're like, oh yeah, we should just let, murderers out?
Yeah, or if we're upset about, Kyle Rittenhouse being made as a hero, we have nothing. We have no moral high ground anywhere.
Yeah. No, exactly. Kimberly, exactly when did we become a nation of insane conspiracy theorists? Marjorie Taylor Greene accused, of course she did, the U.S. government of being in control of the drones flying over New Jersey.
She is the government.
She is the government.
She shared a Joe Rogan something video something.
She's a part of the government.
That some guy claimed without any evidence the drones could be operating, seeking missing Ukrainian nuclear warheads to radioactive waste. I'm like, as one senator was saying, like, foreign enemies are not going to fly a drone over Secaucus that we can easily capture.
But we're controlling the weather too. So it's like we're using the drones to control the weather to do, whatever.
Yeah.
She is literally a professional government troll.
Well, I was out to lunch with a friend of mine Saturday, and we were talking about the conspiracy theorists that were formerly in our lives, and we were like, the weird thing is, it's not just the anti-vax thing. It's once they believe one, they believe all of them. Just chemtrails, Bilderberg. I mean,
slippery slope there,
yeah.
And you just kind of, but I don't know that. Unfortunately, we've got this internet, right? So I don't think we're ready for it. But there's all kinds of conspiracy theories, and I saw this guy, this right winger, posted this man who is, it's not a political conspiracy, but he's saying that, and of course I can't remember his name now, but he's the artist with the white hair. What's his name? That popular artist who did
Banksy?
Warhol.
Wait,
Andy Warhol.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So-
I thought we were
so-
talking about a
so-
current one. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
So this guy is saying that Marilyn Monroe died, and then basically she became Andy Warhol,
What?
and he's
They were alive
circling
at the same time.
I know, but circling things on the face to prove like, oh, this is where the mole was, and then
Oh my
he said, I
God.
think he said,
Now,
John J. Ramsey is Katy Perry.
Oh God.
Now, what do the maggots do when John Kennedy Jr. comes back to be vice president? What happens to Bobby then? Do you think there's going to be, I don't know.
I know, right?
Friction.
A skosh?
Will there be friction or no? Well, that's just, okay. Can you confirm, however, just, for our listeners, that you have in fact had sex in your refrigerator with Bob Seska? I think I started that conspiracy theory, but it was based on something very real that Bob Seska talked about finding a part on Amazon that went to its, that he said you guys broke in your refrigerator.
Yeah, we broke it when we were having fun in the refrigerator, and then it was me though. I broke it.
Okay, well, you little minx. Okay.
Like, did the door snap off, or did like a shelf break?
I think it was, I don't even remember what part it was, but it was, I think it might have been I don't know what it was. It was just some part of the refrigerator.
Yeah, something. Yeah. It was in your back or in your, okay. Were you reenacting like 9.5 weeks or was it just?
We always do.
I mean,
every night.
Yes.
All right, 48.
They got honey all over the linoleum.
All right, 48. Johnson from the Start Me Up podcast. Chris, who said of the ABC settlement, knee bent, ring kissed? Another legacy news outlet chooses obedience. I bet Bezos, Zuckerberg, and the rest are bummed that they will now need to match the $15 million payment to Trump in order to keep up with Disney. Does anyone have a list of legacy media that have not yet apologized to, praised, and or paid Trump since Election Day? Who said that?
Sally Brown.
No, that would be Mark Elias of the United States of.
Mark Elias.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know why? Viva la resistance, Kimberly. Kimberly Johnson is back in the bringing maximum hotness back to the resistance. She's rested. She's ready to go. There are several Democrats that will not be attending the inauguration in the first act of Viva la resistance. We salute you. Jasmine Crockett's not going.
Good.
Steve Cohen, Escobar. They cited January 6th attack. Okay, Chris, one last one. Who said, I think Trump voters may be surprised to learn they voted to make polio great again?
Peppermint Patty.
No. Hillary Clinton, the once and forever queen of told you so. Viva la resistance. Okay. Sorry. I'm a little wobbly, Kimberly.
There's a list I retweeted, whatever, on Blue Sky. It says, who has not bowed to the felon? ProPublica, Rolling Stone, PBS, Vanity Fair, Not Sure About the New Yorker, and Mother Jones.
Yes. Yes, thank you. People fighting the good fight. This is Lucy Caldwell with what's his name, right-winged, Clay Travis, talking about Hegseth.
They've come after Pete Hegseth with everything they got. They started with, he's a womanizer. You can't trust him. His wife's fabulous. They have a fantastic family. He's doing really well.
Not a womanizer.
Then they moved on to
accused of a sex crime. Not a womanizer. Accused of a sex crime.
Which he says was consensual.
But there's a police report about. Let's not use the term womanizer. Defend it. Don't defend it. But don't say womanizer. That's not what's at issue here.
Thank you.
An alleged sex crime is what's at issue.
Thank you. That's, like woman. They just try to find ways to minimize. I love this whole these anonymous accusers. She's not anonymous. He paid her off so that she wouldn't come forward.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just we're gonna be seeing so much more of this.
Yeah.
The downplaying of sexual assault and all of it. It's so ugly and disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and the fact that they don't even ask Trump anymore about his, sexual assault conviction, by the way, anyway. We love you, Kimberly Johnson. Welcome back into my minimal bosom. We love you so much. Follow her on all the socials.
Yes.
Listen to the podcast. We love you, Kimberly. Mwah. Mwah.